heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids. Being in a hospital facing painful treatments takes away from the happiness of childhood. But that's where Starlight comes in. We provide entertainment, comfort, and distraction through Starlight gaming, hospital gowns, and toy deliveries to bring smiles to over 800 hospitals. Starlight programs are what happiness is made of. Learn more at starlight.org.
Is your eyesight changing?
I can't read this anymore.
Don't lose hope. People just like you are working every day using Braille, screen magnification, speech technology, and other tools and blindness skills. Your eyesight may have changed, but your goals, they don't have to. We can help. Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Corey and Zach lingered in foster care for years, longing for a permanent place to call home. They lost hope.
I felt alone in the world. I didn't feel loved. Every day felt like a lost cause. I thought, who would want to adopt an older child?
I thought, I'm going to end up on the streets. That's just how it's going to be.
Thankfully, Corey and Zach's journey changed when they were adopted with help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
It's really difficult to wonder how you're going to make it. I'm not going to have that problem now. I just won't. Because I have a family.
Today, Corey and Zach have bright futures. But every year, thousands of youth age out of foster care with no permanent family and no safety net. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
And Bonds hits one high. It's a deep. It is out of here. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker.
It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
Here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Greetings and salutations on this extremely early Tuesday morning, but we're here every day, at least Monday through Friday at this time, as we welcome you in to Sports 56 Mornings. It's the Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale continues. 50 different models to choose from, 5 different manufacturers, and all types of amazing deals at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. As you get your Tuesday morning going, currently 71 degrees, mostly cloudy. A little bit of light rain as I drove into the studio, so you might see a little rain out there, but it is not expected to be some all-day type thing. Intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high today of only 78 degrees. Man, it feels good. It's going to feel good Thursday night for that Memphis Navy game. Tonight, partly cloudy. Scattered thunderstorms are developing later in the evening with a low of 64 degrees. Coming up on the program today, speaking of Memphis and Navy, the voice of the Naval Academy, our good buddy Pete Medhurst, will join us at 7:25 to break down Thursday's nationally televised game. At 8:25, normally it's Jeff Crane, University of Memphis Deputy AD, but Laird Veach, the University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, will be joining us. We'll talk to him about everything that's going on with Memphis Athletics and also an update on where things stand with the stadium issue. At 9:05, Rich Duncan will join us in studio as we'll do our weekly Rhodes segment. He's the head coach of the Rhodes Lynx football team, and they got a dramatic win last Saturday over Austin, 19-17, to improve to 2-0. Then at 9:25, Blake Topmeyer, SEC columnist for USA Today Network, who joins us every other week. We'll talk all things college football with an emphasis on the SEC and some interesting games: LSU, Mississippi State, Georgia, South Carolina, of course, Tennessee and Florida, just to name a few. We do have Humdinger's trivia. That'll come your way at about 8:05, and we'll let you know what the topic will be for tomorrow's 5 favorite things. If you want to hit us up on the Sports 56 listener lines, please feel free to do so, 901-360-8255. You can also message us on Twitter and Facebook, YouTube. You can hit us up on the website, sportsmemphis.com. Many different ways to get involved with the program, or you can just kick back, relax, enjoy. Don't kick back if you're driving, be conscious of what's going on there. But certainly enjoy us today over the course of the next 3 hours for some scintillating sports talk. Eli, how are you, man? What a crazy Monday night game that was.
Yeah, I can't imagine the swings of emotions that Jets fans went through. But it's the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. That is just it's truly like unbelievable. Of all of the conversation and talk and everything else that went to this offseason about Aaron Rodgers and them acquiring him and now what it did for them through Hard Knocks, everything else. And his Jets career his Jets season, at least first season, last 4 plays. That is possible. We'll find out, but it
and
seems.
that includes the kickoff.
Well, 4 offensive plays.
Oh, was there 4? I didn't even
Yes.
know there was 4. I thought there was 3.
I can't imagine. Like, for those Jets fans, he's running out. It's September 11th in New York. He's bringing out the American flag. Like, this is it. For Jets fans, you talk about the ultimate hope for a fan base that has put up through many years of futility, and this was it. This is it. Like, we now have a chance. We've got this guy. 4 plays in, he's done. I can't even imagine that. And then to go through the game and end up winning it in the style that you did, it's unbelievable. It was just the weirdest game, and I just like the swing of emotion in that stadium as the night went along. It's just crazy. I can't even think of anything like this where a guy with this much anticipation, everything else, that much of a deflating thing that early, like you talk about a gut punch for those fans.
All I could picture was the Jets fans, whether they were at MetLife or home watching wherever they are, just thinking to themselves once that went down, as you described it, just
one pass.
Yeah, just
man threw one pass this season.
Just going to themselves, there is no God. I mean, it's just it's hard to digest what happened last night. Now, I have no dog in the fight. I'm kicking back and relaxing. I got everything done for the show other than the Monday night game. I figured, we're going to talk about it today a little bit, but who knew that it was going to turn out to be as dramatic as it was, and obviously the injury to Rodgers being as big a story that it is. But I'm psyched to watch it. Again, I couldn't care less. I got my plays in. I don't care if the Jets win. I don't care if the Bills win as far as overall this year. They're not my teams. But I want to see Aaron Rodgers. And most of the plays I made included Aaron Rodgers doing something. I figured he'd throw a couple touchdown passes. He would have a great first game. As you said, 9/11, the flag, the whole drama of it all. And I'm deflated. And, even I don't even care. I lost a few plays, but I don't care about that. I was just deflated because I wanted to watch him. I can't even imagine Jets fan. Matt Infield, our buddy from Action News 5. He's a New Yorker. Big, big Jets fan. I can't believe the swing of emotions. Now, they win the football game because Josh Allen gifts them the football game. Let's be honest. 4 turnovers, 3 of them interceptions, all by Jordan Whitehead. What a performance by Jordan Whitehead. And then one of the stars of Hard Knocks, one of those rookie receivers, Xavier Gibson, takes the punt back in overtime to win it in dramatic fashion. That's great for one night that you survived and got a W over Buffalo. But what is the long-range fortunes of the Jets going to be behind Zach Wilson? They'll probably go out and get a veteran quarterback, but they're putting now all their eggs into that one basket. And oh, by the way, we still haven't heard anything official yet on Aaron Rodgers. He gets the MRI done today, but as Robert Saleh said post-game, they believe it is an Achilles. At first, we thought it was an ankle. The X-rays came back negative. You thought, oh, great, it's not a broken ankle, or maybe he's okay. And then you hear about the Achilles. And you also hear the talk, of course, now of the turf field as opposed to the grass field. So there's so many stories within the big story. But yes, for a night, the swing of emotions for Jets fans. But in the end, no Aaron Rodgers. And who knows if it is an Achilles injury, which they think it is, a torn Achilles, he could be done for his career. What happens? Do they negate the trade? Can they do something like that? I mean, it's just crazy to think, like you said, 3-4 plays into the season, Aaron Rodgers is more than likely done and possibly his career done.
It was crazy too, because when the play looked very innocent, like the guy didn't come down on his foot, and then he got up and he was limping, but he was up and he was standing there.
And then went down.
And then all of a sudden he goes to the ground and you're like, okay, well maybe it must have, his ankle or foot, it caused a little more pain than he did, so he just went down.
Right.
I mean, at that point, like, you're thinking, this isn't anything serious. And even on the Manning cast, like, they're like, oh, I'm sure he'll go get taped up and he'll be back out there. Like, you just think, like, these guys, like, oh, he probably tweaked his ankle. They'll take him in, tape him up. He'll be right back out there. Then all of a sudden they go and you see the cart. You're like, we're carting him off. now we're getting a little more serious here. Like, they're just going to go take some X-rays. Once you get X-rays negative, all right, well, now they'll tape him up and he'll go out there. And then when it's like, I mean, then
they ruled him out.
And then all of the things that happen. I mean, the Garrett Wilson catch is like, becomes a footnote. It's one of the, like, it's an insane catch. That dude is so good. And I was so looking forward to what kind of year he could have with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball instead of Zach Wilson. And now we have to watch Zach Wilson throwing the ball. But that dude is incredible. And like, that catch is amazing. But then, so you're Jets fans, and now it's all building. And then you got a chance to win at the end. And the field goal doinks. You think you've won the game. Like, oh, no, it went in? It went off the upright and went in? You got to be kidding me. So then you got to go to overtime. Then you lose the coin toss in overtime. Like, oh, gosh, now here we go. This, what's going to happen here? And you get the quick 3 and out, return the punt for the touchdown. It was such a weird, crazy thing to watch unfold, all of the different ebbs and flows of that game. But
hell, there could have been more. John Perry, the rules official, talking with Buck and Aikman, saying that they should have caught a leg whip on that punt return. That could have easily been negated, according to John Perry.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like there was, I don't know. That's a hard,
it's a judgment call.
Play to call. Like, there's a lot going on in that punt return. The punter, by the way, what an effort. What an effort.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
He really sold himself out to make that tackle. My goodness gracious. That dude wanted no part of that whatsoever.
Here's another story within the story. In that short series, those short 3 or 4 plays that Aaron Rodgers was on the field, he was running for his damn life. The offensive line did a horrible job protecting for him.
Well, we knew their offensive line was terrible. That was in Hard Knocks. That's what they said.
Exactly.
Like, this offensive line. And
Becton tries to go low on the one play, a submarine block. The guy jumps over him. I mean, so here's Aaron Rodgers at 39 years old trying to run away from guys that are coming at him. That's not going to sit well. I'm not saying that a 39-year-old should have his Achilles burst, but you mentioned that the play looked harmless. It didn't look like he was crushed or anything. Well, again, you got a guy who's having now to run out of the pocket, twist and turn. Not that he's not athletic, but again, 39 years old, he's aged a lot on the field playing as much as he has. That's not going to last long running for your life. That was horrible by the Jets' offensive line.
Well, the good news for them is they get the Cowboys this week. So that ought to go real well, try to block them up front. But yeah, I mean, for Jets fans, you were liberated from the Zach Wilson experience. You're like, all right, good. We got the guy. We don't have to worry about Zach Wilson. He's our backup, whatever. And literally 4 plays into your season, you're now stuck with the Zach Wilson experience all over again. I mean, it just, the
ultimate gut punch.
And again, I'm happy for Jets fans that they still won that game somehow because their season's over. Let's be honest. Every hope and expectation they had for this season is done.
Do you think they ride Wilson, or is it possible they bring in somebody like Cam Newton or Carson Wentz or Nick Foles or one of those veteran quarterbacks that are still out there.
I mean,
Tom Brady's not coming back.
I think they will. I mean, they'll explore possibilities, but none of those. I mean, again, none of those guys
is Aaron Rodgers.
Is Aaron Rodgers. Your hopes and dreams of this season. They've got a very good roster. They've got a lot of talent. But Aaron Rodgers made them a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Right.
None of these guys does.
No.
You know, BetOnline has their odds of who they will go get with Nick Foles and Colt McCoy and Taysom Hill and Davis Mills and all these guys that they might try. None of them do. Like, none of them make you a Super Bowl, especially in the AFC. Like, they're just not good enough with any of those guys at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, if he was the old Aaron Rodgers, of his yesteryear, we don't know if that was going to be the case or not. He makes you a Super Bowl contender. Yeah. Nobody does. None of these guys make you close to that.
But on the flip side, here's Buffalo losing the game that they should have won because Josh Allen is out there throwing up balls like it's going out of style. The offensive play calling was suspect. All they had to do was just go through a little bit of yeoman's work, run the football, punt, play defense. Instead, they're playing hero ball out there. I didn't understand any of the play calling, and they blew it. They should have won that football game, and they blew it. So, yeah, it's one win for the Jets. I don't see a bright future this year with Rodgers out, like you just talked about. Buffalo, I think, will get it together, but they can't afford Josh Allen to go out there and play as reckless as he did.
That's the issue with Josh Allen. It was funny because Peyton Manning saying that he talked to Josh Allen this week, and he told me he's going to be patient, he's going to be cautious, he's not going to try and force things. And sure enough, Josh Allen, as John McEnroe said, that's like telling me to behave myself on the court. He's like, it's just you can't do it.
That's who he is. Right?
I can say I'm going to do that, but when you get out there, you take over. Your DNA takes over, and you are who you are. And that's who Josh Allen is. And he's going to make some great plays, and he's going to make some plays. And the Jets defense has his number. Like, the Jets have just killed him with turnovers. He always turns it over a ton against the Jets. It's, for whatever reason, they've got him figured out. And it's, for him, he stepped up. He took the blame, all that. But, I mean, he's just got to be better. 4 turnovers you just can't do it, especially in a game. Again, they've lost their quarterback. Like, you have this game. The only way you're going to lose this game
play reckless
is by turning the ball over.
Right.
You don't turn it over, you're going to win.
Be conservative.
Zach Wilson is not going to light you up. He doesn't have that capability. And
by the way, Zach Wilson, in his last 6 starts, 2-0 against the Jets, or 2-0 against the Bills, and 0-4 against everybody else.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Mainly because their defense has Josh Allen's number, and Josh Allen refuses to do anything but turn the ball over against the Jets. But God bless you, Jets fans. I'm in the end, I'm happy that you won the game. And listen, the Xavier Gibson dude was a great part of Hard Knocks.
He was.
So, like, for him to do that, that's an incredible story in itself.
Undrafted player,
wasn't nobody thought was going to make that team. Ends up just earning a spot on the team. And then on opening night, punt return, walk-off, touchdown on a night when Jets fans needed something to feel good about. Like, that is that's just crazy stuff.
And as I said earlier, Jordan Whitehead with 3 interceptions. That guy, we talk about defensive backs. They usually drop them, and we say that's why they're not wide receivers. That guy had the greatest hands I think I've ever seen. He should play both. He should be the guy on Colorado. What's his name? Playing both offense and defense.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, he should be Travis Hunter because he has great hands. But I don't think you're going to get better hands than we saw with Garrett Wilson making that great catch.
By the way, Jordan Whitehead, he was a former Bill. He played for the Bills.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Nice revenge game.
Maybe Josh Allen thought he still played for the Bills.
Oh, by the way,
that's explanation.
Speaking of the Bills, DeMar Hamlin did not play, but did play in the preseason, as everybody knows. So I'm not sure when he'll be active to play in a game, but that was nice to see him on the sideline. Like you said, the whole night, the salute to the fallen in New York, 9/11, the flag coming out by Rod. The football gods, after what happened to the Giants the night before at MetLife Stadium, it's just they couldn't be that cruel, could they? Well, in the end, yeah, the Jets get a win, but they lose Aaron Rodgers, so I guess they could be that cruel. They could have been worse, but the Jets prevail, get the W.
Drew texted in on the Sports 56 listener line and says, now we have to watch Zach Wilson on national TV all year. Gross. Yeah, that's the problem. Jets are going to be on a lot of national television. Now, we got the flex scheduling for both Sunday and Monday night now, so they can flex them out if they need to. But yes, Aaron Rodgers versus Zach Wilson, different appeal for folks on Sunday night football and Monday night football and all of those primetime games, everything else. So, they will take advantage of that flex scheduling when needed to get the Jets out of there.
The way the offensive line played, we saw the one play where Zach Wilson he was bent over. I thought he was going to get hurt on that play. The way that offensive line is, don't expect Zach Wilson to survive either. That's not going to happen. They're not good. Tim Boyles, the emergency quarterback, although he wasn't dressed out, so they probably would have had to go to Randall Cobb. I think they'll bring in a veteran quarterback. Wilson will be the guy, but I think there'll be some veteran quarterback that you will see on this roster here signed this week.
Tiger Steez, I thought Aaron would go down mid-season, but wow, what a terrible end to a career. Go Packers. When you're talking at that age,
do you want to?
It's not easy to come back from an Achilles injury,
right? Do you want to go through that entire rehabilitation at your age? This is not a simple injury at all. It's a complex injury. Again, we haven't had official word, but that seems to be where we're headed. An Achilles injury, a torn Achilles, more than likely the MRI being done this morning.
Reggie says, "Does an Achilles not show up on X-ray? No, X-rays show bones.
Yeah,
MRI show tendons and ligaments and things like that. X-ray just shows you bones. So
right.
They won't know. But again, when Robert Saleh comes out and says,
he knows.
We believe all of the doctors believe it's an Achilles. Like, they're probably not wrong. Once they've done the examination, like, it seems like it's an Achilles. They're not going to go that far to say it's probably a torn Achilles if they're not pretty darn certain he tore his Achilles.
Doctors are very good at what they do.
And that's what's incredible to me, because to me, I think of a torn Achilles like being as painful as anything I can imagine. Mm-hmm. And for him to stand up right after it and be fine and then just sits down on the ground, that's incredible that it wouldn't have been more pain than that.
Now, maybe that's the adrenaline. The juices are flowing and everything like that. But once he realized, oh, my God, this hurts like hell, he went back to the ground. One other NFL note from yesterday, which is big news. Chris Jones returns to the Chiefs. He'll play this season. He did not get a long-term deal, but what happened is they negotiated incentives into his deal where it could be a much more lucrative one-year deal. But again, not a multi-year deal. He did not sign a new contract. It's basically incentives for this year, but good news for Kansas City with Chris Jones back after losing their opening game to the Detroit Lions 21-20. College football world, Ryan Silverfield meeting the media yesterday. Short week for the Tigers as they get set for Navy on Thursday. We'll talk with the voice of the Naval Academy, Pete Medhurst, in just a few moments. Interesting, one of the quotes Ryan Silverfield said, and I think he said this at his radio coaches show last night, you guys are going to see something Thursday night that you haven't seen from us before. We put in something last night that we've never done here. I'm very curious what that possibly could be. In the meantime, Memphis and the league announced that the game against Missouri a week from Saturday in St. Louis at the Dome at America Center, the former TWA and Edward R. Jones Dome. It'll be 6:30 on ESPNU. We all thought it would probably be an earlier game, maybe 11, maybe 1 o'clock, but it will be a night game. So, folks, if you're planning on heading to St. Louis, in case you didn't hear the news yesterday, 6:30 ESPNU game a week from Saturday against Mizzou. Also from college football, Mel Tucker sends out a statement via his attorney calling the accusations from Brenda Tracy false. She countered and went right back at him. This one is as ugly as it's going to as it gets, but it's going to only get uglier. And then Oregon State and Washington State got temporary restraining orders to prevent the Pac-12 from meeting tomorrow. That's an interesting situation as well. Obviously, they don't want the rest of the teams voting on the the end of the Pac-12 and to take the money and all that stuff. So the Oregon State Beavers and the Washington State Cougars are going in on it 2 against the rest of the league to make sure that they have their rights and not only have their rights, but really take control over what's left of the Pac-12, which obviously will not exist after this year.
Folks, have you been to Genesis Diamonds yet? Well, you need to get on over there and check them out in the Poplar Commons Shopping Center, Poplar and Perkins Extended. Folks who have been going in there with a budget for that engagement ring or fine jewelry often end up spending less than what they even thought they were going to and getting something that blows their expectations out of the water. The value, the selection, the service, everything at Genesis Diamonds is just absolutely out of this world. The value, you're talking about direct importer pricing on diamonds. They're going to save you a lot of money against anybody else. Compare. Just go out and compare the different prices and what you're going to get. You're going to get the lowest price at Genesis. They'll even guarantee that. The selection, absolutely second to none. They've got line after line of jewelry that nobody else in Memphis has. Plus, they've got no commission salespeople, so they're not there to pressure you into buying something more expensive. All of this, it's relaxed, it's easy, it's comfortable when you go in and see the folks at Genesis Diamonds. Poplar Commons Shopping Center, Poplar and Perkins Extended, the new jewelry store in town that is taking over the town. They are Genesis Diamonds.
The voice of Navy Athletics, Pete Medhurst, joins us next to preview Thursday's huge nationally televised game between the Tigers and the Middies. He's next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll find only spectacular natural diamonds that will remain treasured for generations. That promise is now symbolized by the engraved Sissy signature and sapphire, representing our guarantee of extraordinary service, selection, experience, and quality. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience the Sissy's promise for yourself. Find a jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hi, this is Jonah Gamble, left guard from the University of Memphis football team. Is your credit card rewarding you for everyday purchases? Southern Security has the perfect low-interest reward card that will upgrade your wallet. Max rate is 18%, no annual fees, no cash advance fees. For more information, visit southernsecurity.org or by calling our member service team at 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud sponsor of the University of Memphis.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Whether it's date night, a birthday, or just because, raise a steak in celebration at Ruth's Chris. Open in the Regalia Shopping Center at the corner of Poplar and Ridgeway. Treat yourself to one of our classic USDA prime beef steaks, seasoned and broiled to perfection. Then serve sizzling hot on one of Ruth's signature 500-degree plates. Visit Ruth'sChris.com to make a reservation. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Memphis. This is how celebrating more is done.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Got a couple accidents on the roadways. New Horn Lake Road south between I-55 and Rivergate Drive. is blocked off due to the accident over there. Accident on Airways at Wilson Road, the right lane is blocked. That's Airways at Wilson Road. Also, accident on Winchester at Air Park Street, in addition to that. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings. On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:27 the time. Hour number 1 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios.
Happy birthday to my mom today, by the way.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Savoy.
She was not listening, and if she was, she wouldn't be able to hear it. But nonetheless.
Do you throw around mom's age on the radio? Does it matter?
She's old. She's 88 today.
God bless her. God bless her. And your pops is how old now?
My dad is, my mom's at 88.
What are you lying here? You lying on radio?
86.
Okay.
My dad's 88.
Wow. That's great. That's a country living right there, my friend.
Neither one could hear a thing.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I'd like to say I'd call her and wish her happy birthday today, but I've given up on trying to talk to my parents on the phone. It's not worth it.
Oh, you don't like talking to your parents?
I like talking to my parents. Screaming as loud as I can into the phone, trying to get them to hear me, I don't like. It is a fruitless task trying to talk to my parents on the phone. They even have hearing aids. It doesn't. They don't. They do not. It does not aid them well enough. That there is not enough aid there for them to hear. So, I don't. It's I've given up. Given up hope on that.
All right, tomorrow is Wednesday, meaning 5 Favorite Things Day. What's the topic for this week?
For this week, we've here in recent times, we've lost a few of these in a couple different ways. But your 5 favorite game show hosts of all time.
5 favorite game show hosts.
But a couple have passed away. We're losing Pat Sajak off of Wheel of Fortune.
He's not dying. He's just retiring.
Well, he'll die eventually.
Not Pat Sajak.
He'll buy his last vow at some point.
In the meantime, we're waiting to connect with Pete Medhurst as we will talk Memphis and Navy Thursday night. Yesterday, Ryan Silverfield had mentioned talking with the media. Then he had his coach's show last night, hoping for what will be, and hopefully everybody's expectations, a huge crowd as the University of Memphis gets a nationally televised game. You want to put your best foot forward. We're going to talk to Laird Veach at 8:25, the University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, about that particular game, but also about the future and the stadium issue and where we stand as we sit here on September 12th and still don't have anything definitive. We know it's going to happen. We just don't know exactly when, exactly how much money the state is going to allocate to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, how much money the University of Memphis will try to raise to help offset the costs. I have no idea. I'm not even sure if Laird does, but he'll talk to us about that. Without further ado, it is time to talk to our good buddy, the voice of Navy athletics. He is Pete Medhurst, the hardest working man in show business. He also is involved with the Baltimore Ravens radio network and the Washington Nationals radio network and WBAL radio out of Baltimore. He also calls harness racing for Rosecroft Raceway. I don't know how he has time to spend with his family, but he finds a way. You can follow Pete on Twitter at Pete Medhurst. He is our good buddy, Pete Medhurst. What is up, my friend?
Dude, what's happening? I spent the night last night watching high school field hockey, watching my daughter score a goal. So
good for her.
We find time. We find time to get it done.
I don't think you sleep. I don't think you sleep a wink because it's incredible. Your resume just continues. You continue to add things each and every year. Now doing Raven stuff. Good for you, man. I'm very happy for you. One of my favorite guys in the business, Pete Medhurst. All right, my friend. So you'll be here in Memphis. We can't wait to see you. this is a new Navy team in the sense that there is a new head coach. We will see certainly a lot of elements of what we have seen in the past under Ken Niumatalolo, but some wrinkles, a little bit of a difference. So what is, if there is anything significant that we should know, the difference between Coach Newberry and Coach Niumatalolo?
That's a great question. Through 2 games, I'm sure we have enough data really to see significant. Do we see formation change? Sure. I think any offensive football team now, whether it's high school, college, or pro, everybody wants to formation you to death. But guess what, Greg? We're running the same plays. We just formation you to death. That's what everybody's doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's we're all going to the Kansas City Chiefs playbook. Andy Reid gives you so much window dressing, but when you really go back and look at the plays they're executing, a lot of them are the same thing. Outside of the off-schedule stuff, of course, when, great players just go ahead and make a great play. But, still the fact remains is, we've dressed some things up formationally. Last week, obviously, threw the ball a little bit more. Ty Levitai looked very good passing the football when called upon. So, I would say we're still very much a work in progress as to exactly what our personality offensively is going to look like in totality. But, you've seen some things that have been effective against Notre Dame and obviously against Wagner this past week that, you see why they're doing it. It's, a lot of times it's to get the best players on the field. Sometimes that means putting them out there together. Usually we've been a single back always behind the quarterback. Well, that hasn't always been the case this year. We've seen both backs back there. So, it's been a little creativity from Grant Chestnut, but, admittedly, I think they've really only run about maybe 30% of the stuff that they've installed and would eventually like to run offensively. So, still a work in progress and obviously a tremendous opponent coming up this week.
Yeah, obviously the Notre Dame game is what it is, and that was, you were behind big, all that. Then you play Wagner, which you're probably not going to show much against. But in the first game against Notre Dame, they didn't throw much, even though trailing, and this last one you threw more even with the lead. Where is the balance you think that they want to have with that, how much to throw?
Eli, I still think this is going to be a lot of, instead of being maybe 90-10, I think we're going to be closer to 75-25 run to pass. Obviously, we know we have to get people off the line of scrimmage. We have talented wide receivers. We've got legitimately right now 3 deep at wide receiver that could play just about anywhere in the country. In other words, we have 3 guys that could play on your roster. That's how I kind of judge, stuff is do we have guys that can go play on somebody else's roster and make an impact? We got 3 dudes that could go play with Seth Hennigan and make an impact. Mm-hmm. And maybe more. We'll obviously see a little bit more of that depth. We saw Regis Velez a lot this week. So that would really give us 4 in that category. I still think it's going to, instead of being 90-10 like it's been in the past, I think we're looking to go closer 75-25 just because over the last 2 years now, we've seen basically everybody bring their whole team up, within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, send corners on blitzes and things of that nature. So when we try to get to the perimeter, all of a sudden here comes a corner darting in and we don't have him accounted for. Well, when they start doing that, you got to make them pay by throwing the football down the field and throwing it over their head.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the Notre Dame game, you don't know over 60 minutes how it's going to work out. But on the first drive, we have 2 guys on 4th down behind the defense, and unfortunately they ran into each other. But if they make that play, we match Notre Dame's first touchdown, and you don't know how the game's going to go from there. But it kind of set the tone for the game for us offensively, and we just kind of went flat after that.
Hennigan, as you know, one of the top quarterbacks in the conference, threw for 415 in Annapolis last season. Can you get pressure on him? Can you make life, if you will, miserable for him? Because you haven't been able to do that in the last couple of years.
It's funny. When you look at the way our season went, if we played Memphis in November, maybe, we were a different team defensively by then.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have one of the best defensive fronts in the league. our front three guys. In fact, we've got, we're legitimately too deep at nose guard, too deep at one of the defensive end positions. So in theory, yes, the problem is they do a good job. First of all, Steph is great at identifying the blitz. He sees things. He gets the ball out of his hands. He doesn't give you a chance to sack him very much unless your coverage people are just locking it down on the outside. But as you well know, there aren't many Sauce Gardners in the American Athletic Conference anymore. Right. So that allows Seth to really get the football out. And, look, he's got some new skill people this year, and already they look fairly comfortable with each other. And I think that's the sign of, look, we saw it from day one. We knew Seth was going to be a special player from day one, and he's proven that almost every snap while he's been at Memphis. So I think it's, again, you put skill people with Seth, he's going to make them better. It's not skill people making Seth better.
After Fofana, who do they want to get the carries?
I think Zaba and Alex Texa are 1 and 1A at that position. You'll see them together at times. They're both very talented. We're deep at slot back. Some of the better depth we've had at slot back in a while. We got a young man, Brandon Chapman, that can fly. Amin Hassan can run. Eli Heidenreich can run. He had a great 46-yard touchdown run. Young fella put it on the ground in his first carry against Notre Dame, and you're thinking, he looks so good in practice for a month, and the kid puts it on the ground. You know how coaches are. Do they play him after that? Do they sit him? Where's the kid at mentally? Does he, fold up because, he put the ball on the ground and he knows he pissed off the coaching staff and everything? But great run, a 46-yard run, bursting through contact. That's what we saw the entire month leading up to the season from a kid like him. So I think, again, those are the primary names you're going to get. It's just going to be a question of utilization and how they utilize those guys coming up on Thursday night. Because, look, the one thing I will say this, and again, you look at the first two games, I don't know what the hell's happened to Arkansas State, but, you watch the first two games, the Memphis defense looks dialed in. It looks plugged in. And I think that's going to be a tremendous challenge for Navy coming up on Thursday night is dealing with that defense. And, I think we'll be the best team Memphis has played so far. But, still, you got to give that group their flowers. They've responded, played some real solid football over the first two games, and really made it easier. I asked Brian Newberry yesterday, I'm like, hey, when a team glides to victory the way Memphis has in his first two games, can you really see any trends? And outside of watching the film from last year, that's almost more beneficial to you right now than the first two games, outside of assessing personnel and things of that nature.
That's actually a very good point. The voice of Navy Athletics, Pete Medhurst, joining us on the program. You can follow him on Twitter at Pete Medhurst. Pete, I haven't yet studied your roster looking at stories for my sideline reporting, but I know that in the past, Navy has had a great connection with Tennessee and a great connection specifically with Memphis. Is that connection continue this year with the roster?
Yeah, look, that's always going to be a state that, because of the schools we've gotten kids from, I think that's always going to be a state that we are going to grab players from. The problem is, I think the rest of the world, even some of the other schools that we're neglecting in state there in Tennessee, have realized, wait a minute, maybe there are some kids from Brentwood Academy and places like that throughout the state that we need to go, we need to start recruiting a little bit harder as well. So, we'll see. We love that state. It's been very good to us. You could argue the greatest. Look, Keenan Reynolds put himself in the conversation with Roger, as great players from the state of Tennessee, and now, greatest players of all time at Navy. So you can't talk Navy football without talking about guys like him, Jabari Tawani, and some of the great players we've pulled out of the volunteer state, and hopefully many more from years to come, because, kids have to do the job in the classroom, and that means kids in the state of Tennessee are doing the job in the classroom as well.
The conversation out there about the possibility of adding Army to the American Athletic Conference, what's the feeling from the Navy perspective about that?
I mean, we're cool with it. Sure. Do we think it serves a better purpose for us having been in this conference while they're out there as an independent playing 2 1AA games and things of that nature? I mean, yeah, I think our schedule's been much better. But I also think that you're talking about, you see the reality on the writing on the wall. You've got to do whatever you can to make the league you're playing in right now as strong as possible. 15 years ago, if you'd asked me that question, I'd have said there's no chance Army could come in this league and be competitive. They weren't a competitive football program. Look at how we were beating them like a pulp, 34-6, 34-0. They weren't a competitive program. Jeff Monken's got them, though, to where now they're a competitive program, and their product is good enough to come to the American right now. And I think they would give people fit, in this league. So ultimately, at some point outside of Notre Dame, I'm not sure any brand can survive independently in college football anymore, to be completely honest with you. And I think even Army has now seen the writing on the wall. At some point, we've got to give our fans better than Delaware State and Bucknell and beating Army. I mean, it's really truly been their goal. Hey, we're going to do whatever we got to do to beat Army, or beat Navy rather, every year. That's the only thing that matters to us. And when they've been above 500, they've usually been able to secure a bowl berth from somebody. But ultimately, what do you strive to be? Our league has sent people to New Year's Day, New Year's Six bowl games and big money bowl games. So why not want to come compete with the best? That's the one thing at Navy we have always said steadfastly, even though we've struggled post-pandemic, is we're always going to go play the best people. We are always going to give our student athletes the chance to play the best people. And, even though we've lost good people in our league, for the time being, we've still maintained good people like Memphis, where this is a Thursday night game in prime time. The whole world's going to get to watch this game, coming up on Thursday night. And I don't know how many opportunities Army's been getting like that, on their schedule. And I think even they've seen the writing on the wall. And I think we realize, hey, maybe it's better for all of us if they end up here in the league. So Navy's not going to do anything to block their entry into the league. It's a matter of whether Army finally wants to make the decision. Because remember, they tried this before in Conference USA, but they hired Todd Berry, who thought he could install this passing offense, and they were abused. They were embarrassed. They lost games in, just embarrassing ways. And now they're a much better football team. They're much better equipped to be in a league, and I think they would really come in and be a competitive program in the American.
Pete, we always appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you again on Thursday for the Tigers and for Navy, and as you said, that nationally televised game. Always appreciate it, Pete.
Appreciate you, fellas. Thank you.
Take care. Yeah, I can understand him saying that Navy's not going to put up a big fight to have Army in here. But again, as we've talked about, it makes no sense. The Army-Navy game will not be a conference game. It will be a separate entity. And there are other football entities in college football right now that are thriving or are on the rise as far as their programs are concerned compared to Army. Yeah, Army's a consistent, solid team, but only one sport, just football. It's not all sports. It makes no sense to me that you wouldn't bring in a Coastal Carolina, an Appalachian State, these programs that are absolutely on the rise. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with many different plans and options to choose from. You can go 6, 12, even 18 months, same as cash option. Look, your insurance company can't tell you what company to use. That is your choice. So they will work with your insurance company. They'll work out of pocket, whatever it takes to get the roof fixed. That's the most important thing. They do residential and commercial roofing. So business owners, property managers, along with homeowners. If you have any leak or issue right now with your roof, just a little leak could turn into a major headache. Call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof, and all their work satisfaction guaranteed. That includes all the work around the home, like carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters and put up fencing, siding, install shingles, rotten wood repair. Whatever you can't do yourself, call the experts at Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. 901-438-5084. That's 901-438-5084. Or online at newroofmemphis.com. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination, has 27 delicious flavors to choose from and counting. Like the Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick. Mango Habanero, sweet taste of mango followed by the heat. Or sweet maple bourbon. The taste will remind you of chicken and waffles. And that's just 3 of the amazing 27 chicken wing seasonings that you can get at the Crazy Coop in Bartlett at 7199 Stage Road. And now open, the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Some like it hot. How about the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or Crazy Suicide? Can't take the heat? Get the 4-cheese roasted garlic or barbecue at $9.99 lunch special. Now those are some crazy good prices. The Crazy Coop, 2 locations, 7199 Highway 64 between Applin and Kirby Whitten, and 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Family owned and operated, The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination.
Purple Wave Auction understands that it takes the right equipment to maximize profits in the field. That equipment is up for auction every week at purplewave.com. Bid on hundreds of items from John Deere, Kubota, Case IH, and more. Our marketplace transparency makes bidding on those tractors, balers, and sprayers safe and easy. Equipment sells to the highest bidder regardless of price. Get started now at purplewave.com. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Memphis football is at home Thursday, September 14th at 6:30 as they face off against Navy for Military Appreciation Game. Enjoy the interactive military equipment set up on Tiger Lane, skydivers during the national anthem, and much more. Tickets start at just $20 to witness the 901's football team in action. Be there Thursday, September 14th and show a nationally televised audience what Memphis football is all about. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Good morning.
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I understand what pizza, and I think could Army be somewhat competitive in the American Athletic Conference? Possibly. But I mean, you look at like last year when they go 6-6. I mean, their wins are Villanova, Colgate, Louisiana Monroe, Connecticut, UMass, and Navy. Year before, their wins were against Georgia State, Western Kentucky, Connecticut, Miami of Ohio, Air Force, Bucknell, UMass, Liberty. Like, they don't, well, they can put up some decent records. They don't beat anybody. They just, and again, I think the military academies are going to continue to get worse and worse. To me, they do nothing to help your conference on the whole. In a time where you're going to be trying to get your champion into the playoff, Army adds nothing to that.
Right. Do I think Army could be somewhat competitive, middle of the road in the conference? Yes, absolutely. I do. I don't think they are cellar dwellers by any stretch. I think Munkin's done a real nice job with that team, but you just rattle off the teams they beat. But my point has nothing to do with whether they're going to be competitive. My point is that the marquee game, one of the marquee games of the season, every season in college football, is the traditional Army-Navy game. That would be two schools in the American Conference if Army was brought in that would be playing each other, and it wouldn't be a conference game. Again, I told you I said that's what the way it was going to be.
I don't even care about that.
See, I do.
I care about a football program that adds to the conference. Army does not.
Well, they brought in Rice, and we thought Rice didn't, and then Rice went out and beat Houston the other day. But the point is that Army-Navy, all the pomp and circumstance, all the glory would not be included as an American Conference game. They wouldn't even be able to talk about the American Conference because it's a separate entity, and they weren't about to give that up. So that would be incredibly strange if those teams were actually like at the top of the conference. More than likely they wouldn't be. I understand that. But it's still weird that you would have two conference teams playing and it would not be a conference game. I don't like it. I don't like that they're football only. We already have that. It's called Navy. You don't need Army. Bring in another school that's on the rise with their college football program or their football program as opposed to, one that's mediocre in football and really good in basketball. Bring in a football program that is on the rise. And there are some choices. There is Coastal. There is App State. There's James Madison. Again, people at home are probably going, oh, my God, he's talking about those schools. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. But I think adding Army waters it down, whereas adding one of these up-and-coming football programs that I think could be really competitive will help. Not overall as far as bringing in a big market or they're bringing in this history of football, but they're bringing in good competitive football that could make a run. Appalachian State just lost in double overtime to North Carolina. We know what they've done in the past. You're telling me that they wouldn't be competitive in the American Conference? They'd be battling for the championship. So that's what I look at it that way.
That's exactly what I look. That's the only thing I look at.
Oh.
That's why I don't care about Army-Navy, whether it counts as a conference game. Give me the best football program. You're trying to get your league champion into the playoff. You need the best program so you can get the best wins and be that. Like I want the football program that helps the conference raise its level of play. I don't care whether Army and Navy, if it's a conference game or not. Who gives a crap? Give me the best football program.
Well, we'll agree to disagree because I think it's very, very important if you have two teams that play in the same conference and they play and it doesn't count as a conference game. That would be like Michigan and Ohio State playing the Big Ten. They have their annual game and it doesn't count as a conference game. It's a separate entity on a Saturday 2 weeks into December. It's important because the pomp and circumstance, the whole exposure that you get helps raise the level of the conference. And you wouldn't be talking at all about an American Conference game because it wouldn't be an American Conference game. But we are in agreement about who we think should be in here as a replacement for SMU. Yeah, it's sad that we're getting down to this level, but at least go for an up-and-coming football program. That's the way I look at it. If you missed it from our last segment, tomorrow's 5 favorite things topic, your 5 favorite game show hosts. Your 5 favorite game show hosts. One note from Major League Baseball, Matt Olson yesterday, the Braves and the Phillies played a doubleheader, split a doubleheader. They had a makeup game and then played the regularly scheduled game. In that second game, he hit 2 bombs. He's hit 50 home runs now on the season. 18 games to play for the Atlanta Braves. Not sure how many of those games he'll play in. Can Matt Olson reach 60?
Could. Probably won't, but he could.
Probably won't, but yes, the way he's hitting home runs, I don't think it's out of the question that he can't do that. He certainly has been on fire, has been consistent throughout the year, but he reached the 50 plateau. Pretty cool because Kyle Schwarber was able to get the ball back for him to give to him. He was the left fielder. He hit it to left field. And Schwarber is another guy who's, I think he's up to about 44, 45 home runs himself. But Matt Olson is on a tear with 50 home runs. When we come back, we open up hour number 2 with Humdinger's Trivia. Then at 8:25, Laird Veach, the University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, will join us at 9:05. Rhodes football coach Rich Duncan, followed by Blake Topmeyer from USA Today, their SEC columnist. That's at 9:25. Continue to hit us up with your texts on the Sports 56 listener lines at 901-360-8255, or send them via Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or send it right to the website, sportsmemphis.com. We will, of course, read them on air. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We interrupt this broadcast for special news and information concerning family leisure.
The world's biggest spa sale is back and bigger than ever at Family Leisure. How is that possible? Well, let me tell you. You start off with 50 different spa models to choose from 5 different manufacturers. Then you throw in up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas. But is that all? Oh, no. You get free upgrades on all in-stock spas, plus 24 months, same as cash. Wow! This is the kind of sale that you just can't have every day, but it's happening right now at Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale. Soak in the savings right now at Family Leisure, Witten Road and I-40. You know the place where family and fun come together.
Please remain calm and walk. Don't run to Family Leisure. And now back to your regular programming.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we've brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store, with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place, at prices you never thought possible. What's the Genesis secret? Our owner was born and raised in the diamond industry in Tel Aviv. After selling wholesale to high-end jewelry retailers for years, he hated the insane markups they were getting away with. So he stopped selling to the stores and started selling direct to the public. That philosophy is still a core part of Genesis DNA, as we continue to sell the highest quality diamonds at true no-middleman direct importer prices. With international connections and massive buying power, Genesis has what it takes to beat anyone else's price every day on every diamond. Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry. Now open at Poplar & Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Now that your people are starting to return to their offices and other workplaces, it's time to think about doing something special for them. And nothing is more special than having a breakfast or lunch catered by Sunrise. Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise on Poplar can provide delicious, fresh food for your team that will be better than anything from anywhere else. If you've got 20 or more people, a meal from Sunrise will make everybody happy to be back at work. We always say this, but where your people are concerned, why settle when you can have Sunrise?
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Sports 56 Traffic.
Still working accident on Airways at Wilson Road. The right lane is blocked. That's Airways at Wilson Road. The right lane is currently blocked. Other than that, no new accidents to report. Just little small pockets of delays, but nothing too major. This is your Sports 56 Traffic Update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:01 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Tuesday, September 12th, 2023 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale, continues at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Free upgrades on all in-stock spas and 24-month same as cash available at Family Leisure. Currently, it is 71 degrees, mostly cloudy as you get your Tuesday going. Had a little bit of rain this morning, just a little drip and drizzle here and there, nothing major. Intervals of clouds and sunshine throughout the day today with a high of only 78. That is fantastic. That's some Chamber of Commerce weather. Partly cloudy skies for tonight with scattered thunderstorms developing later in the night. We're looking at a low of 64 degrees. Later in hour 2, Laird Beach will join us, University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Athletics. But as we do each and every Tuesday, we open up hour number 2 with Humdinger's Trivia.
That is right. It's an opportunity for somebody out there to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers, which, of course, you can find over at Poplar and Massey in the shopping center there. You can go enjoy delicious food on Tuesdays like today. It's Taco Tuesday. That means they're chicken and fish tacos, just $2 each all day long, each and every Tuesday. So you can take advantage of that today. If you're not over there on Taco Tuesday or not in the mood for the tacos, well, plenty of other great items, including many healthy items on that menu, all the different grilled fish options that they've got. Throw some of their great toppings on there, those great sides, whatever you want. They've got something for you. They throw a little skewer of shrimp on the side. You could get the Humdinger shrimp, which was a very popular dish over there as well. You got the crispy fish and chips. You got the sandwich dish, or you got sandwiches. You got salads. You got other chicken items, all on the menu. Of course, if you need an event catered, they can do that for you as well at Humdinger's. Again, at Poplar and Massey, and you can check out the menu by going to humdingersrestaurant.com. If you are the first to answer today's trivia question correctly, well, then you can get a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers, and you can answer via text at 901-360-8255. Text in your answers, 901-360-8255. And if you are the first with that correct answer, well, then you'll get the $25 gift certificate. And here is this week's question. On Sunday, we saw 3 rookie quarterbacks making their NFL debuts in week 1 of their rookie season. And Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. And all lost, which is not uncommon. The question is, who was the last rookie quarterback to start week 1 and win his first game in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Last rookie quarterback to start in week 1 and win the game. 901-360-8255. Text in those answers, and the first correct answer will get that $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
Not only did the 3 rooks who started lose, the 5 first-year head coaches lost as well. The new head coaches in the National Football League, they went 0-5. So a rough start for the newbies.
It was not a good week. Not a good week for the young fellas.
Wasn't a good week for the youngsters and some of the old guys. Again, if you weren't up last night and missed it somehow, Aaron Rodgers went down, 4th play of the game in the Jets game versus the Bills. The Jets would come back and somehow win in overtime in one of the craziest games you'll ever see. The MRI is being done this morning. It is projected, and Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, was one who talked about this last night, that it will be a torn Achilles. If that is the case, the 39-year-old is done for the season and quite possibly maybe done for his career. It all depends on how determined he is to come back, rehabilitate a devastating injury like that. This isn't a simple broken bone that you mends real easily and you come back from. This is not the easiest thing to come back from, especially at that age.
Could you imagine if, like, just say he never comes back from this? So his Jets career is 0-1 passing.
It's hard to believe.
All of with everything that went into this offseason, he ends up playing 4 plays, throwing 1 pass, and it was incomplete.
And the Green Bay Packers go out in week 1 And Jordan Love finally gets his opportunity, and he goes out there and he lights up the Chicago Bears. Now, this is more of an old school thought. Have quarterbacks wait. Learn, especially learn from somebody like Aaron Rodgers, and then get your opportunity and seize the moment. Doesn't mean Jordan Love's going to be a all-pro quarterback this year, but he's off to a good start. He looked poised. He knows the system like the back of his hand. And you have these other guys who are thrown out to the wolves, especially when they are playing behind horrible offensive lines. Just look at Carolina and Bryce Young. But that's the way it is. It's interesting that even though you are spending big money to draft these guys as high as you do, the rookie deals are pretty darn good. And then the next contract's even going to be more astronomical as long as those players are healthy and play well. But in the past, you're not thrown out to the wolves. You learn. You wait your turn, and then you get your opportunity. Now, there is a rush to win right away, or at least to see what that guy can do for you, and they throw him out there to the wolves. Stroud and Young and Richardson, and I saw some good things from them. I certainly did. But even the other young quarterbacks around the league, second year or third year. Look at Pickett. He looked horrible as Pittsburgh got drilled by San Francisco. But you're only as good as your offensive line. Pickett's charge, man, that guy had no chance against San Francisco. And we go back to last night. Aaron Rodgers was under pressure, under duress for the 3 times he dropped back. And Zach Wilson later in the game, he was bent into a pretzel. I thought he was going to get hurt. That offensive line is horrendous for the Jets. Really, really bad.
Yeah, the thing is they don't wait anymore because you're trying to take advantage of a quarterback you're not paying much money to.
Although they still make right. It's not the second contract, the second contract or the first one after the rookie contract that'll pay them astronomical amounts. But still, you're paid handsomely as a rook if you're that high a pick. If you're first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Your salary will multiply by like 5, 6,
Right.
7 times.
No, I understand.
It's everybody, especially if you could draft him later, like you saw the Russell Wilson examples like that. If you could draft the guy 3rd, 4th round and he could come in and start right away, that's when you become the Super Bowl type team. If Jordan Love ends up being great for the Packers, that's awesome. Except for in 2 years, they have to give him a $50 million contract, and you start losing guys around him. So they want to rush guys out there, and hopefully that because they're not spending much money on the quarterback position, they can put better guys around him and have a chance to win during that 5-year stretch where he's still on his rookie deal.
Yes, but the rookie deal, for example, Bryce Young, almost $38 million guaranteed. His signing bonus was $24 million. So they're investing so much money with these guys, they want a return right away. They are not patient with these guys.
That's over 5 years.
4 years.
His 1 year, the 5th year option. Then the 1 year will be more than that once he gets, if he's good.
No question.
Will be well more than that.
Right. No question. There's no argument with it. But again, do you have to throw him into the fire game 1 of the first year? That's all I'm saying. Back in the day when the guys didn't make that much money, you had time to wait on these guys to develop. I understand the sense of urgency in today's world, no matter what the sport is. But with football, as physical as it is, how much you have to learn, there's a lot going on. I wish there was more patience with the quarterbacks. It seems like the guys who actually can get out of the pocket and survive have a better chance. If you're a pocket passer and your offensive line is horrible, you are probably dead. I mean, I really am worried about Bryce Young. Not worried about the size necessarily. I'm worried about the offensive line and the hits that he's going to take. He probably never got hit at Alabama, for goodness sakes. That's not going to be the case with the Carolina Panthers.
All right, we do have a correct answer in the Humdinger's trivia question. We got names all over the board here. Key part of the question, got to listen to the question, folks. Key part of this question is they had to start week 1 of their rookie year. Not like started later in the year and won their first game. Who won? It's a rookie quarterback who won by starting in week 1 of his rookie season. So telling me Brock Purdy, not going to work. He didn't start week 1. of his rookie season.
Mhm.
And you don't have to go back as far as Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger won his first game or not. Did Ben Roethlisberger start week 1 of his rookie season?
I don't remember.
I think he probably did. But he doesn't. I don't know. You don't have to go that far.
How far you got to go back?
Not that far.
Is it? Okay, I don't remember if he started game 1. I think he started game 1. I have no idea if they won the game. Is it Burrow?
I don't believe.
I don't know why Burrow's just popping
Burrow
up my head.
lost game 1, I believe.
Okay, but he did start game 1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Burrow, I believe, lost his game 1, his rookie year.
Okay.
I think they lost a close game, if I'm not mistaken, when I was looking this up last night. The correct answer has some ties to last night's game, and that he did it for the New York Jets.
Darnold?
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold in 2018. He won his first game in week 1.
And the rest is history.
And boy, was it a signal of things to come for his career. But yes, Sam Darnold was the last quarterback to start and win in week 1 of his rookie season. We did have a couple of people tie, but one of them's won within the last 30 days. So you're not eligible if you won in the last 30 days. So we will contact our winner.
Poor Mike Greenberg is going absolutely crazy on ESPN. He's a huge Jets fan, and I think he's going to have a heart attack. Okay, it's horrible. It's horrible for Jets fans. It would be horrible for, look, I have dealt with the damn Colts for the last, 7-8 years, a different starting quarterback every year. I dealt with Andrew Luck prematurely retiring. I dealt with Matt Ryan and that debacle. Carson Wentz, who I said on this show, don't trade for too late. I've dealt with that stuff. You got to be a professional when you get on the air. Try not to cry too much about it. Mike, life's okay. I bet you're making, I don't know, a couple of $1 million at least a year. Shut up. Get over it. It is what it is. It's unfortunate that injuries are a huge part of the world of sports, but it is just demoralizing to the Jets nation. I understand when all the buildup and the Hard Knocks program and everything leading up to last night and the irony of running out there with the American flag, he's the guy on 9/11. And then he goes down because the offensive line can't block at all. And people are going to blame the turf. Maybe it was the turf. But again, he's under pressure. He's under duress for the first 3 plays. All right.
Texter says if Rodgers is out for a few weeks, well, it's looking like it's going to be the entire season. Do the Jets call Matt Ryan out of retirement or get free agent Carson Wentz? Again, we'll see which way they go. I mean, I
think they're going to bring in a veteran.
They may try and make a trade for somebody that's in the league. They may go the free agent route of some guys that are out there.
Yeah. You know which way I wouldn't go? I would not go with a sitting duck like a Matt Ryan come out of retirement because Matt Ryan says he's not retired yet. But I wouldn't go with one of those guys because the offensive line can't protect. They cannot block. So I'm going to go out and get a mobile quarterback. I might even look at Cam Newton. I mean, because Cam Newton will run. I'm just looking at somebody.
Give up on Cam Newton. The dude can't play.
But I'm looking at somebody who can get out of the damn pocket because you're going to be running for your life with the Jets. So give me somebody who's multidimensional. Because Matt Ryan's a sitting duck back there. So is Wentz for the most part.
Is Mike White still available somewhere?
He's with Miami, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he's somewhere. I'm not sure.
Somewhere.
I think he's in Miami.
He went. I know he went. They traded it. Did they trade him or did he just leave? Did he leave?
I think he just.
No, I think they dealt him.
I
thought they dealt him.
But Zach Wilson is better than most of those guys who aren't on rosters right now.
Is he?
Yes. Like, he's better than Cam Newton. Zach Wilson's better than Cam Newton.
I know he's better than Carson Wentz.
I mean, but could they trade for somebody? Yeah, I mean, there's some people out there. People are bringing up Ryan Fitzpatrick. What is the deal with the resurgence of Ryan Fitzpatrick on my television?
Because
the dude's
what
got,
do I always say?
He's got commercials everywhere.
Right, Fitzmagic, baby.
And then last night he's like on the Manning cast for like the entire second half. It seemed like they wouldn't get rid of him. Like, why is Ryan Fitzpatrick all over my television right now?
You know his name's going to pop up, don't you? Kaepernick. That's going to pop, and that is just the most ludicrous thing ever. But it's going to pop up there. Yeah, as far as Fitzmagic is concerned, what do I always say? He's in the spotlight. People see him. So they're going to go, oh, yeah, what about Ryan Fitzpatrick? Yeah, because they're seeing him in all these commercials. They're actually funny. The commercials are pretty funny. But, yeah, he's out there. He's out there everywhere. But there are a number.
They bring him up because he's played for every damn team in the league. And
right. He's got a lot of money.
He's already played for the Jets, but why not? I mean, and I don't know where he is physically or anything like that. But his beard is still beautiful.
Could they go after Sam Darnold again? Would San Francisco be willing to give him up? Because they have Trey Lance, but they haven't traded.
They traded Trey.
Oh, they did trade him. That's right, to the Cowboys.
Like that people bring up.
Damn it, yeah.
People brought up Cooper Rush. If the Cowboys believe Trey Lance can be the backup quarterback, would they deal Cooper Rush?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different guys. Good Davis Mills' name comes up as a possibility. Could you trade for him? I mean, a lot of these guys wouldn't take much to get them.
Or you just, like you said, you're happy with Zach Wilson / Tim Boyle. Because that's what you got.
Boyle is very familiar with Hackett's offense, and but again, it doesn't matter. I mean, for Jets fans, there's nobody you're going to acquire.
Oh, I know.
Who puts you in the position you thought you were in? You legitimately thought, hey, we have a chance to be a Super Bowl team, and now that is gone. There's nobody you can acquire that allows you to do that.
Oh no, there is. There is one name. You know who that name is. Mr. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady couldn't do it. Tom Brady's done too.
I know he's done, but I'm just saying, you talk about it.
Let's talk about your sitting duck statue. He'd get killed.
I know he would. I would not do that, but I'm saying if you wanted something to rile up in as far as excitement for the Jets fandom, none of those names will do it. But you said Tom Brady's coming out of retirement to go one more time and play for the Jets, they would lose their you-know-what. So, but that ain't happening. It's not happening. All right.
I mean, Brady's got a good life.
Let me switch gears.
Plus, Brady couldn't play for the Jets. Brady, that would be sacrilegious.
Yeah.
You can't have Tom Brady playing for the Jets.
Plus, he's up there.
It's one thing to go to the NFC, go down south, go to the Buccaneers, all that stuff. He can't be playing for the Jets.
Plus, what is he doing up there in New England now? Ringing the bell in the lighthouse or whatever he's doing. He did that game one, and Robert Kraft already announcing that they're going to go beyond the normal 4 years you have to wait to become a Patriots Hall of Famer. The rule was out the window for Tom Brady. He will be inducted sometime this summer as he should. All right, let me switch gears. Yesterday, NBA news. The Spurs waived former Lausanne star Cameron Payne after they had acquired him in a trade with the Suns. So Payne can sign with anyone with the exception of the Phoenix Suns, giving him the opportunity to sign with a team that will be competitive and may make a run in the postseason. John Hollinger, our buddy, said that he thinks even though the Grizzlies are two over the minimum, 17 players signed. Maximum, I was right the first time. 17 players signed, they have to cut 2, that they should go after Cameron Payne. If they had not signed Derrick Rose, I would say it makes sense. But they got Marcus Smart, they got Derrick Rose. Obviously, Ja will be back in 25 games. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, but should be back in 25 games. I don't see a spot for him there. I like Cameron Payne a lot. But I think it probably makes better sense with some other team where he's the solid second guy. That's what he was in Phoenix. He was the number 2 and then started a lot when there was injuries to Chris Paul. But he comes to Memphis, I don't even see how, unless you're not going to play Derrick Rose. Doesn't make sense to me.
No, the only thing I would say, if he was still available, nobody picked him up, and early in the year when you get a chance to add the extra guy 6 games into the year, I'd take him at that point. But it wouldn't make sense for him to sign here if he's got other options.
And again, if you signed him, you'd be 3 guys that would have to be cut. 2 seem to be obvious. Those 2 late signees that they got were the one they made with the trade, but then somebody else that is probably a decent name you would have to let go to be able to keep. But again, as you said, you get the 20 games exception for the Ja Morant suspension. So if that's what you wanted to use him for, that's fine. But remember, they also just signed Shaq Harrison, who many people believe that Shaq will be the guy that will be in that role for those 20 games. Who knows? But he will be at least a camp invitee. We'll see what happens with Cameron Payne. Friend of the show, want to wish him well.
So is it the campaign play at Murray State with Ja? No, he was pre-Ja.
He was pre-Ja. James Gaddis Jewelers, your family's jeweler, second hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. James has all the credentials to help you out with that fine jewelry. He's a master jeweler, certified appraiser, diamondologist, and he's graded by the Gemologist Institute of America. You're not just given those accolades. You have to go out there and earn them. They are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. All their diamonds are independently graded and certified. They know there's a lot of competition out there, so they make sure they have a price point to suit everyone's budget. Whether it be beautiful engagement rings, wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets, or all of their other fine jewelry, it's James Gaddis Jewelers. You're looking for that special watch. Custom-made jewelry of all types, gemstones of all types, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, and pendants, and one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. It's James Gaddis Jewelers, right in the heart of East Memphis at 4900 Poplar. When we come back, we talk University of Memphis Athletics with Laird Veach, the University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics.
Thanks to Eric, by the way. Ben Roethlisberger did not start week 1 of his rookie year. Tommy Maddox did.
Tommy Maddox, former USFL player. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Fall time, game time, food time, fun time. It's all Dave and Buster's time. Watch the game at Dave & Buster's, 2751 Wolf Creek Parkway, and get $4 pints all day, every day. Plus $5 appetizer bites all day, every day. Join the fun and games after 4 p.m. every Monday and Thursday and get all-you-can-eat wings. All at Dave & Buster's, 2751 Wolf Creek Parkway. Fall is here, and that means games, food, and fun at Dave & Buster's.
Sports 56 traffic.
We working to stall the vehicle on Germantown Road at North Street. That's Germantown Road at North Street. Also, new accident on I-40 West at Sycamore View. The left shoulder is blocked there. Keep it right here. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:27 the time, hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd. At this time, each and every week, we talk University of Memphis athletics with normally Jeff Crane, but we are very pleased today to be joined by the big boss man. He is the University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. He is Laird Veach. You can follow him on Twitter at Laird Veach, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hi, Laird. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you all?
Doing great. I know you're excited. We're all excited here, and hopefully the city's excited about Thursday. I mean, it's a solid start to the year. Things are going well. Tigers football taking care of business. You got the the soccer teams off to great starts. But Thursday is extremely important. I know you want to talk about the Navy game, not only because it's conference play, it's the Naval Academy, but this is the first chance, that nationally televised game for this season to kind of showcase what Memphis is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. These Thursday night games, nationally televised on ESPN are highly watched. Right? It's, one of, I think, 2 games on, and I think ours is going to be the best one. So we're going to get a lot of eyeballs, and it sends a big message to people across the country. We talk about, the importance of athletics, particularly, football and the visibility it brings to the university and city, and this is the time we got to show out.
Right now, where are things as far as ticket sales go for this game?
Right now, I think we're projecting very similar to where we were the first game. If we can, end up in that same type of range, particularly in terms of the showing of people that buy tickets and actually show up. We're really, really pleased with the student section. I don't know if you all caught that first game, but they filled out really well. And that was a lot of work from Josh Moore and others on our staff here that have really made a concerted effort. And we have that kind of showing, and the visibility of just people in the stands on TV is going to make a difference.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a Thursday night. You have the national spotlight to yourself, but it being a Thursday night, there are some high school football games on Thursday. Obviously, it's a school night. It's a work night, as folks will get up early on Friday to work. I mean, they seem like they're excuses, but certainly they're understandable excuses. But how are you and what are you doing to try to talk those folks in that are on the fence to come out on a Thursday night to watch you guys play football?
Yeah, well, first of all, we know, some people do have obligations. I got kids, and we have family obligations, those kind of things. But for everybody that can make it work, the weather's going to be perfect. You can just imagine picking up your kid after school and going out there. For those that haven't seen it, we've made a few additions to Tiger Lane, so you can bring your kid out. You can actually be there right on Tiger Lane around all the fancy tailgates. We've got big video board screens set up, and we stripe the field so kids can throw the ball around, and have food trucks and music and things going out, on that scene. So it's not only just the game day experience, the game itself experience, but the pregame experience, I think, is a lot of fun. And then particularly for this game, because it is Navy, if you not only love the Tigers, but you love your country, it's a great way to, come out and experience that, because I was looking at the list of things that our staff has planned, and they're kind of blowing it out. I almost wanted to say, do we want to spread this out a little bit, to other games? But any kind of military related activity or action that you can see in a game, we're gonna have it. Before the game, we're gonna have a Navy dive tank and Air Force simulators out on Tiger Lane. In addition to all the other things we've added, skydivers parachuting before the game. We're gonna honor a couple Gold Star families before the game as they release the Tigers. We're gonna have a swearing-in ceremony, a big, massive flag on the field. So, it's just a really, really neat experience, kind of beyond just, coming out to support the Tigers. And if you haven't been to a Tiger game and you want to experience it, there's fairly low-cost option. We have a, family 4-pack for $99 and other options that, are affordable that people can come out and just experience it.
And, of course, the people who bought that preseason $60 ticket. They just want to keep seeing those home wins to keep seeing that ticket carry on.
That's right. They're just going to keep rolling with it. That's exactly right.
It is. I mean, it's fun. It ends up being somewhat good timing too, because you get to play Navy, this week that yesterday, September 11th, and then you got the military kind of recognition, everything that you're going to be doing. This is certainly a week to do that, and it works out well schedule-wise that you guys get Navy on this week.
Yeah, it really does. It lines up in a lot of ways really well. In fact, this whole season, if you look at our schedule across the board, it lines out really well, not only in terms of opponents, but home opponents, timing. They're kind of spread out. We don't have back-to-back weeks. We're playing at home. We've got some breaks, even just a day or two off before, we take on, Missouri the following week. Those kind of things are helpful. So it really lines out well to keep the momentum going and keep winning and having some fun.
You mentioned some of the things that will be a part of the Thursday night experience. The marketing department has done a wonderful job. Your department has done a wonderful job. And you guys keep thinking outside the box and being proactive, which is exactly what you have to be. But when you talk to people, when fans either interact with you on the streets, they see you, or maybe they send you a text or an email, what would be the one area of complaint? What would people say, well, this is why we're not going to a game, when certainly you wonder, with beautiful weather and a nationally televised game and Navy in town, that people would come out in droves?
Yeah, the things we hear are consistent with what I think you hear just across the country at places in terms of live sporting events. Some people just they'd rather sit at home by themselves and watch it. But to us, the opportunity to go out and be social and experience something like that is just different. And even if you don't do it every game, come out for a game or two and experience it. We do hear, of course, challenges about traffic. That is one thing that we continue to try to work with the city and police about how to manage that, getting people in and out of the stadium. We hear about just the lack of amenities in the stadium, and that's obviously what some things we're trying to do some things about. Those kind of things. But I'm convinced we keep winning. We keep doing the right things and keep making it a fun and exciting event, and people are gonna get back out and show up.
And that's, as you mentioned, the stadium situation is a big topic of conversation. I know you addressed it somewhat last night on Ryan Silverfield's Coaches Show, but just where do things stand right now? What are you guys kind of doing, and what are you waiting for as the next step?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, first of all, I would say the design process, all the things in the background, working with the city on that, and the sort of collective vision that we've been working with them on from the beginning continues to go well. There are cost increases that we're all having to try to manage through and work through, but in the end, it's still going to be just an incredible transformational is the word I like to use project for that stadium and for us, for the program, a university, everyone. But it is time to push go. That's what I said last night, and I'd reiterate, we're heading towards what we understand to be sort of an October drop dead date with the city on some approvals that need to happen in order for them to be able to break ground in January, which is we're still on that track from a design standpoint, and essentially they need to release the money and push go. But they have been great to work with, and we have been working with them hand in hand from the beginning. But as I said last night, the state gave those dollars with the intention that it was going to go to both projects, right? And one of those projects just so happens to be very, very impactful to one of their state-owned institutions. And we need to get it going. We need to push forward. And I sort of struggled with this narrative that's been out that it's kind of needs to be an either-or scenario, because that hasn't been what's been discussed from the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. We've all come to the table and we've all been doing our part, and now we're just getting to a point where in order for this thing to move forward and for us to make it happen in the most effective and efficient way, the sooner the better, right? I mean, costs, at least historically, have not gone down in the construction industry very often.
No, they have not.
So if we want to maximize those dollars, we need to get it done. And I think we've got things lined up to do it. And it's just a matter of getting those final approvals and pushing forward.
All right, let me go back to what you said about a drop dead time in October. If for some reason we're still talking about this late in October, does that mean there will be a delay in the start of the construction, which was planned for right after the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game?
That's my understanding. Now, that we're getting into, the city management that I don't tend to be an expert about. But our understanding is that there needs to be approvals that move forward sometime in October with the city in order for us to break ground in January like we're planned. And if we don't move forward with that, there's going to be some type of delays in the project, and there's repercussions for that, right? Whether that's cost, whether that's the delay in finish, whatever that may be. We need to move forward, and I think we're lined up and ready, but we just got to take these final steps to make it happen.
With the funding that is out there now, not anything extra or anything else, do you still feel comfortable that you'll be able to do maybe not everything that you wanted to do, but something that is completely satisfactory to you guys at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you whenever you go through these projects, and I have had the fortune to be around a handful of them throughout my career, and I've loved every minute about it. I really enjoy these construction projects that are really impactful and sort of transform the way you look and the experience people have. And every one that I've gone through, you start with a sort of original vision, and then you get into the design, and part of it is costs may go up. Part of it is you discover things in the detail of the design that may cost differently, or you have to approach differently, and you have to adjust. So we'll adjust some, but it's still going to be the same, basic concept of what we had, really transforming that whole west side and really, impacting the halo experience and finding ways to touch all our fans in various ways. There may be a thing or two with this project or others that you got to push forward into a future phase, but that's also, that's part of what you go through in these kind of projects. But it's essentially going to be the same thing. I mean, we're going to have that type of vision that we put out there is going to, we'll be able to produce with the city, and it's going to be dramatic in terms of just the type of experience and the type of look that places that fans at big time places are used to. Our fans, I'm sure, have been to other places, right? You guys have been to other stadiums and seen what it can be, and we're gonna finally be at that type of level.
Laird Veach is joining us, University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. You can follow him on Twitter at Laird Veach. This is one you probably don't have an answer for, but you have come out recently and said, look, if we have to raise some money for this project, we're going to raise some money for the project. We're going to go ahead and do that. And I was going to ask you, again, how much you're willing to raise. I guess you won't know until you know exactly how much of the money that the state is allocating that you're going to get, or the city's going to get for that particular project. But going out there and saying that, I know fundraising is not the easiest thing to do, and you got other projects that you plan to do here in the not too distant future. So what would that be like, having to raise money for this particular project?
Yeah, we've told the city from the beginning, since we started these conversations, that we are very willing to come to the table and help utilize some of the dollars that we're able to fundraise and generate, really associated with the premium seating that's involved. So you have suites and club seats and load boxes and things that really can generate a lot more revenue than what we've been able to generate out of our stadium products. So we can apply some of those dollars and the revenue that's there to this project. But like you said, we got to get clarity on what the state is willing, what the city is wanting to allocate from state works resources or others, and work with them on what that needs to be. But we're very willing to come to the table with revenues that can be generated from the project.
When it comes to all of the conference realignment, and now SMU is going to be leaving the American Conference as well, how big of a part does the stadium, do you think, play in that as conferences look at schools?
It's the rather blunt way I've put that is, and this may sound bad in some respects, but if you want to belong to the country club, you have to have a house that looks like it belongs to the country club.
Exactly.
And that's just a reality, right? If we want to be viewed as a program that is at the highest levels, then we need to demonstrate that we have the capacity and will to invest in facilities that look like and are at the highest level. I mean, that's just part of it to compete. You have to be able to do those things, and that's what I talked about how it kind of raised eyebrows as we were having conversations with ADs and commissioners and folks across the country, and it really did, because it sent a clear message, right? That we have the capacity and will to do those things, and that that also indicates that not only are teams that are going to be visiting going to have the kind of experience, but it indicates that we have we have the ability to compete, and we're willing to invest, and that is part of it. That's part of our world now, as so much as unfortunately, as we've all seen, that the dollars really play into competitiveness, and we got to find ways to unlock the dollars that are here and reinvest them back into our programs and compete.
All right, final thing for you. Every time it seems like it's time for realignment to stop, or at least to slow down, something else happens. It just seems like it's an ongoing deal. Still got to figure out what's happening with Washington State, Oregon State. Now the American looks like they'll add a team to replace SMU. So I don't know what's next. You've been pretty good as far as predicting things. You told us on the show that there would be a lot more movement, and then there was a lot more movement, and unfortunately, University of Memphis being on the outside, still looking in. Do you still expect a lot more movement here in the next few years, or do you think it does settle in where we won't see anything for a while?
I think you're. I will be shocked if there's not quite a bit more movement, and it could be at a really high level. It could be at maybe not quite as much as what we've seen here over the last couple of years. That's really hard to predict, right? And that's there's a lot of people that across the country, perhaps millions, that are trying to predict it, and even all the best prognosticators cannot really predict the exact outcome or timing. But what you can see and sense is that real change is happening in college athletics, right, at a very high level. So with that is going to come more change, right? There's going to be changes in our overall model and how college athletics is governed and how we exist, I think, over the next handful of years. Just based on what's happened out here in recent years with lawsuits and the changes that you've already seen. So with that become more change, and there's a lot of things that are moving and shaking, and you just got to keep positioning yourself for opportunities. And at the right time, we gotta just believe that the right things will happen, and we'll get there. But you can't just believe it. You also gotta act. You gotta invest. You gotta win. You gotta do the things behind the scenes that we're doing to position ourselves.
And that continues Thursday night to get a great crowd out there for Memphis and Navy in that nationally televised game. So again, tickets available. Just go to the website and Go Tigers Go, or go over to the box office. Correct, Laird?
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Go Tigers Go, or you can always get the app. We're encouraging all of our folks to get the app. And by the way, as a reminder, please download your tickets to your wallet before you get up to the stadium.
That's
we did have some challenges that first game. People are really starting to learn, but they need to download it to the wallet before they ever get up there, and it'll really make it smooth. So
if I could do it,
appreciate everybody coming out. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
If I could do it, they can do it, Laird. No question about it. He's University of Memphis Vice President and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics. He's Laird Veach. You can follow him on Twitter at Laird Veach. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
Thanks, Laird.
Yeah, you would think at this point we are enough years into the digital ticket world. People should be able to do this pretty seamlessly. Like there shouldn't be any issues.
Right.
I mean, we started, I guess 2020 with COVID was the first year they kind of went full digital. But I mean, you're between all of the Grizzlies, Tigers, everything else that is a digital ticket world. At this point, you need to be able to do it.
It's simple now. It really is.
It is about as basic as it gets. So just be smart about that. I've got some tickets, by the way, that we're going to give away a little bit later in the show. I've got some tickets for this game Thursday night. We'll give you an opportunity to win, so you can keep listening for that. If you want to head on out Thursday night, which looks like it's going to be a beautiful night, and the Tigers and Navy Thursday night. We're going to give away some tickets coming up later on in the program and throughout the next couple of days as well. Black Tie Moving, folks. If you've got a move coming up, maybe you're moving across town, maybe you're moving out of town, across country, wherever you're headed. You want to make sure with that move it goes as smoothly as it possibly can. And the way to ensure that is to make sure you have professionals helping you with that move. Don't try and do it yourself. Don't ask your friends. Do it. Get the professionals. Get the people that know what they're doing to help you when you have that move. And the right folks are Black Tie Moving. Give them a call. Go to their website. Whatever it is you need to do, you can talk to the folks at Black Tie Moving, and they work with you. And they come up with a plan with you, fitting both your needs, fitting your budget, and they make it as easy on you. You even get a moving concierge that is available for you 24/7 throughout the process. So something comes up, you're like, oh, we forgot about this. You can give them a call. They're going to answer those questions for you. So go to their website, blacktiemoving.com/Memphis, and you'll set up an appointment with them. It's very simple, very easy, and they're as professional as it gets. That's why they've got 5-star ratings online, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They work with you to make sure it is as easy as possible at Black Tie Moving.
The NBA is attempting to get tougher on teams resting their stars. We'll have the details when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Purple Wave Auction understands that it takes the right equipment to maximize profits in the field. That equipment is up for auction every week at purplewave.com. Bid on hundreds of items from John Deere, Kubota, Case IH, and more. Our marketplace transparency makes bidding on those tractors, balers, and sprayers safe and easy. Equipment sells to the highest bidder regardless of price. Get started now at purplewave.com. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
ESPN announces that the TV ratings for the Texas-Alabama game, 8.8 million viewers. It peaked at 10.7 million. It's the most watched regular season college football game on ESPN since 2015. 2 marquee programs, big upset.
No surprise.
No surprise whatsoever. All right, so the NBA's competition committee has recommended stricter guidelines for resting players for nationally televised games, where multiple stars have sat out in those particular games, so they're doing something about it. The Board of Governors expected to vote tomorrow on this measure. Under the new rules, teams will be fined $100,000 for the first offense, $250,000 for the second offense, and then $1 million more than the previous penalty for each additional violation of this rule. So again, they're only talking about nationally televised games, but they certainly want to have their stars. It's a star league. Everybody knows it's a star league, and most teams have multiple stars, and you certainly don't want to have all of them sitting out.
They continue to try and battle it. It is what it is. There's no perfect solution to it, but maybe some big fines will have an effect.
So we're going to need a doctor's note to prove the guy's out, that he's sick. Epstein's mother. Going to get a note from Epstein's mother from Welcome Back, Kotter. My son, Kevin Durant, has the flu, and he can't play.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how they legislate all of that and determine who's hurt, who's not, all of that stuff.
Did you hear the news yesterday? There was a couple of reports out there that LeBron is ready to go for next year for the Olympics. He's determined, and then a bunch of other stars are going to follow suit, including KD and others. I saw a proposed team out there, what it would look like, and it was interesting. It was all the stars that you would imagine, but it did include Jaren Jackson Jr. I still think, well, a lot will be determined by whether or not Joel Embiid wants to play, number one, in the Olympics and wants to play for the United States. He's got dual citizenship with France and with the United States. I would think he would want to play for the U.S., but who knows? But he may not want to play at all. So it depends on how many centers are available, how many bigs you have. But I think it might be tough for Jaren Jackson Jr. to make the team. We saw the story yesterday, too, about maybe they would consider Desmond Bane. Well, if all those stars, those big names are coming back, and they're going to play in the Olympics all together for one last ride for most of them, especially LeBron, then I don't think there's any room. And that list, by the way, did not include John Morant at all.
Yeah, they say LeBron has talked with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis and Jason Tatum and Draymond Green, among others, about putting this together. Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Kyrie talked about it. De'Aaron Fox was in there as named other guys. I don't know if LeBron has talked to them or if those are just other guys who would be are interested in playing or whatever. But certainly, depending on of that group, like if that whole group decided they wanted to play, and suddenly Joel Embiid decides to play for the USA, well then, no, Jaren Jackson Jr. is not going to be playing for Team USA if all those guys want to play.
See,
it just the thing is, first of all, you don't know how far some of these teams are going to advance in the postseason. And if a team goes all the way to the NBA Finals, that's a big difference than if you don't make the playoffs as far as what you want to do in the summer. So a lot of guys could say right now that, oh, yeah, I'd love to play. And then at the end of the season go, hell no, I don't want to play. I need rest. So you don't, at this point, it's all talk and doesn't mean a whole lot. Because LeBron can talk about how great it is. If the Lakers were to go to the NBA Finals, LeBron ain't playing over the summer.
Yeah, it's all those extra games, like you said, the wear and tear, the rest that they would want, some vacations they would want to have. Also, players can be nicked up and they don't feel like they do right now when they haven't played a game yet this season. They may feel horribly at the end of the year and they don't want to play. So, yeah, that's certainly a work in progress. But I loved it back in the day when we sent our amateur players, when we sent our, of course, they're not even amateurs anymore in college, but you know what I'm talking about here. You sent your college players, and it was great. Everything was perfect until the Russians and the pros, and, of course, every country now seemingly has gotten better in the game of basketball. They play it everywhere, and now it's just a different ballgame. But it isn't as fun as it was when I was growing up and watching the best collegiate stars from the United States go up against these big European or international teams from anywhere around the world. That was so fun. It's not as fun, but since they're doing it, and since the pros have been playing now for quite some time, I mean, a long time now, just go out there and win it. So if it means sending all our big-name players, if they gel together, they mesh together, that's what I want to see. I want to see the gold, the United States with the gold medal. I don't want to see the United States go into one of these international competitions and come away with not a medal at all, like they just did in the FIBA World Cup. Yes, the FIBA World Cup, not as important, not even close to the Olympics. But any international competition, I want to see them get the gold, but especially the Olympics.
They also had, I think it was The Athletic, they talked about the fact that for all these guys, the only part, I think, of the basketball that's going to be played actually in Paris is the medal rounds. Like, all the other stuff is, like, 2 hours away in some little...
Oh, is it?
Like, industrial town. Like, these players may think, oh, Paris. Like, yeah, like, hell yeah, I'll go to Paris and do that. And then they go, wait a second, we're going to be where? We're not going to be in Paris until the medal rounds? Yeah, you're actually, my shoulder is hurting a little bit. I probably could rest that over this summer. I don't know if that's quite what I thought I was getting into.
Really? There's other great cities in France. I would think that they would participate. So there's going to be some little industrial towns.
I can't remember what the name of the town, but they said it was
as long as they got wine, right? And they have wine everywhere in that country.
2 hours, something like 2 hours out of town. I can't remember the name of it, but they said it's like a little industrial town. Like
that's wild.
It's not exactly Paris.
A little bit out of
the Eiffel Tower, but looks very small from there.
They get the little Eiffel Tower. It's a little tiny Eiffel Tower. Speaking of a little bit outside of a city, a little bit outside of Memphis, in West Memphis, is a hidden gem called Meadowbrook Country Club, 1250 West Broadway in West Memphis, Arkansas. This place has been around since 1959. It was established as a private country club, and it has been a private country club up until now. Now it is semi-private, and you can play this challenging layout with Bermuda greens at Meadowbrook Country Club with a daily fee of just $59 in tax, and that includes cart. They're open Tuesday through Saturday. For a tee time, call 870-394-4186. That's 870-394-4186. We were out there recently and absolutely enjoyed it. It's less than 15 minutes from Midtown or downtown and an easy trip from anywhere in the tri-state area. Plus, they still have country club memberships for $350 a month. That includes golf and tennis, pickleball, swimming pool, great restaurant and bar as well at Meadowbrook Country Club. Plus, the pro out there, Mark Bartlett, he can help you with your swing. He can give you lessons. He can also fit you for Shrixon clubs. He's only one of 3 Shrixon outfitters here in the metro area. So check out Mark Bartlett, a former PGA Touring pro at Meadowbrook Country Club. Again, call for your tee time today at 870-394-4186. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from anywhere in the Memphis area. When we come back, we open up Hour 3 talking some Rhodes football with our Rhodes Report. Rich Duncan will join us in studio, the head football coach of the Lynx. And then at 9:25, more college football, as we'll be joined by the USA Today Network's SEC columnist, Blake Topmeyer. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair because they just don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance carriers each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. This is why you call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates and consultation and love to assist homeowners with their claims. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, and diagnosing problems is second to none. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. And the best part of all you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and even Mulehide. We offer best-in-class warranties on all of our jobs, up to 50 years. When it comes to roofs and restoration, call Metro Builders to schedule your free inspection. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop here on Sports 56. real sports talk.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Memphis football is at home Thursday, September 14th at 6:30 as they face off against Navy for Military Appreciation Game. Enjoy the interactive military equipment set up on Tiger Lane, skydivers during the national anthem, and much more. Tickets started as $20 to witness the 901's football team in action. Be there Thursday, September 14th and show a nationally televised audience what Memphis football is all about. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Sports 56 traffic.
Got a couple of new accidents on the roadways. Lamar at 240. That's Lamar at 240. Accident on Jackson at National Street. And an accident on Perkins at Summer. It's Perkins at Summer are your couple of accidents, new accidents from this morning. Keep it right here. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Okay, this car looks great wrapped around you,
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The body's a temple, that's what we're told.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:03 the time. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale, continues. It's back and bigger than ever. 50 different models to choose from, 5 different manufacturers. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 71 degrees, mostly cloudy. We had a little rain this morning, so it wouldn't be a surprise if we get a little bit more of that today, although it's not really prominently forecasted today, even though tonight, overnight, there should be some thunderstorms rolling by the area. We're looking at a high today of only 78 degrees with intervals of clouds and sunshine. Tonight, partly cloudy skies early, scattered thunderstorms developing later at night, low of 64 degrees. And then tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a high of 80. If you missed it earlier, 5 favorite things topic for tomorrow. Get your list together. It's your 5 favorite game show hosts of all time. 5 favorite game show hosts of all time. Well, as I mentioned, we got a big third hour talking plenty of college football. We'll be joined by Blake Topmeyer at about 9:25, SEC columnist for USA Today Network. But now it's time for our weekly visit with the university, with Rhodes University, and Rich Duncan, their head football coach.
It's time to go inside Rhodes College Athletics on Sports 56 Mornings. Every week, a representative from Rhodes will join Greg and Eli to talk about all things Lynx. Let's go inside Rhodes Athletics now on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's, of course, time to talk some Rhodes Lynx. We started the Rhodes Lynx Athletic. We started this last week. Rich Duncan, who's joining us now in studio, and we did it for the first week. We're going to continue through the football season. We're going to talk basketball with our good friend Zoe Goodson. He was the men's basketball coach at Rhodes College. We're going to talk some women's basketball and do this all the way through March. It's as we talked about, Rich, last week, it's exciting to have you guys aboard. I know you guys are excited to have that type of exposure for the athletics department.
Heck yeah, it's fantastic. And I know our kids, we've been trying to figure out media coverage for us here in Memphis and how we fit in the space. And when I let our kids know we were going to have a radio opportunity, they were really fired up. I mean, our program's growing, and we're off to a 2-0 start for the first time in 6 years, and really excited about where we're headed.
And you guys won in dramatic fashion, it looked like, on Saturday.
We had a great crowd, and we thought we'd keep them around for all 4 quarters, so we kept that bad boy close. Got it to a 4th down at the end with under a minute, and right at a minute, and scored a 4th down touchdown. Trey Hampton out of Collierville made a really nice nice catch, and then we squib kicked, gave him great field position up 2 to give him an opportunity to try to get in the scoring range to win the darn thing, and our defense made a heck of a stop. So, yeah, it was great.
You beat Austin 19-17 in your home opener. And so now 2-0, as you said. Hopefully we brought a little good luck to that great start. We know it's going to be a challenge. It's a tough schedule. You guys always put together a tough schedule. But as far as this particular, how was the showing as far as the fans? Were they out there for the opener? And how can fans for future games get involved with Rhodes Athletics?
Yeah, we had a terrific crowd. It was family day for our campus, so we had a lot of families, and that activity kind of centered around our game. But we'd love to have the community out. It's really simple. We don't charge admission, which is unique to small college football. So if you want to come check us out, come on to campus and come see the Lynx play.
I had no idea you didn't charge.
Yep. I'm hoping to get a crowd big enough that we can start charging. So that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do.
There's not much stuff out there that's free in the world anymore, that's for sure, especially in the sports world. Well, overall, with the game, how would you say, what did you think of the performance?
Well, I thought we played electric defensively. We created 2 turnovers, 2 big ones. I think we scored offensively off both of them. Like I told you guys last week, we're still growing a little bit offensively. I think we replaced 8 or 9 starters on the offensive side of the ball. And, I think we did some really nice things, but we're inconsistent, and that's where we've got to improve. I thought our return game on special teams was really good. We got a young man, Cooper Pennington, who's a really good kick returner. And I thought he had a nice day Saturday.
So you led early 7-0, and Austin scores 14 in the second quarter. So they're up at the half. What's your halftime speech like? Are you a rah-rah guy, or you rip them apart guy, or you kind of baby them a little bit? What do you do at halftime as far as your inspirational speech? Because it obviously worked.
Yeah, well, number one, I'm not going to baby anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a realist. I talked to the kids. They scored on a tip ball that our guy went for an interception, didn't get it, and their guy caught it and ran 60 yards for a touchdown. And then we threw a pick 6 backed up, in a really fluky play. It tipped out of our hands and into their hands and scored. So, we went up, we were in control of the game, even though it was 7-0, and we went from being in control to being behind. I just went in and told the kids, the reality of it. Hey, I think we have the better team, but we've got, you got to play it and you got to win it. And it's going to take all 60 minutes now to go finish this thing out, and it really did. I was hoping we could get it turned a little quicker. But, I think I'm a realist. When you ask the question, what was my halftime speech, it was, hey, guys, this is what we got to do. We're going to have to go out and grit this thing out. We haven't played our best in the first half, and now we got to figure out how to get it turned around. And it's a player's game. Players have to go out and play. They have to execute, and they have to make the plays happen. And I thought we did a really good job of that through the course of the second half.
Speaking of players, Elijah Bain, 14 carries and 10 receptions. So busy guy on Saturday.
Yeah, he I think he got a little Powerade after the game, or Gatorade. We don't have a sponsor yet if Coke or Pepsi want to get in on this. But, no, we got him the ball a lot Saturday, and he did a really nice job, and we weren't able to crack open the run game as much as we'd have liked, but we were able to get him the ball in the pass game, and he's a nice little player. He's played a lot of football for us. He's a junior, and really excited for him because he's taken some leadership in our program, and he had a nice day Saturday.
So was that more with the number of receptions that he had? Was that kind of by design as a way to get him the football different ways, maybe in space?
We all the game time sometimes dictates that, right? And we just found a way to exploit some things offensively by throwing the ball to the running back. I think if you look at it statistically, typically our running backs are going to catch 4 or 5 balls in a game, but just the way the game played out. So your question, was it by design? I think it was more so out of necessity as we got into the game, and the game kind of got moving.
So that's a guy who's obviously a major part of your offense, catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball, playing a lot of snaps, but offensively. Do you have, because I got to bring it up in this day and age, back in the day it used to be where you saw a lot of two-way players.
Yep.
Now we have this freakness going on in Boulder with Travis Hunter, with Colorado, which is unbelievable. Do you have, or would you ever consider using a player both ways?
Uniquely, I have in the past. We don't have a guy right now that I think is a two-way player. But in small, if you look maybe 10, 12, 14 years ago, Ohio State had a really good receiver, Chris Gamble.
Yes.
That they ended up having to play two ways. And when you get a guy that has exceptional talent and he can help you on both sides of the ball, I think as a coach, you're crazy not to let that guy have that opportunity. And, obviously I haven't had a chance to see Colorado play yet. But Travis Hunter is obviously an exceptional talent. And, if I had him on our squad, I promise he'd be catching balls and he'd be playing defense.
The only thing I want, as a coach of that, how do you try and balance it so you're not wearing them down where they become less effective on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I think you have to pick your spots. And again, I haven't seen Colorado play, and I'm not sure how Coach Prime's using them. But, I think that you have to find spots for them to rest. I come from the Iron Age where, in high school football, I never came off the field. And, when I got to college, I played on every special team. I was a long snapper. I started all 4 years in college. And I can remember looking back after my first college football game and thinking, holy smokes, is this thing really long? It's in a whole nother 15 minutes of football. And you don't think it's going to be as hard, but it is. And, I think for the guys now, the conditioning and all the things that we do, I used to joke, I got ready to play football once camp started when I was a player, and you can't do that any longer. The way it's set up, you got to be in great shape, and you got to be able to run. But you're right, you don't want to wear – it's over the longevity, right? It's 10 games, 15 games, whatever your schedule is. You got to be able to get them through that, and you got to find places for them to get a rest.
Talking with Rich Duncan. He's the head football coach at Rhodes College. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach Rich Duncan. It's our Rhodes Athletics segment. We do it each and every Tuesday during this time slot right here on Sports 56 Mornings. I want to go back to the question I asked you about the halftime speech. And the reason I brought that up was because talking to other coaches, especially Division I coaches, they talk about how they can't just do one blanketed thing for everybody. There are certain players that handle it differently, and I hate to say this day and age, get off my lawn, right? I'm old school. But some players have trouble if you're in their face. Others want that. So they have to sometimes put the kid gloves on, which is not probably the easiest thing for a coach to do. They want it probably more blanketed for everybody. But is that even a thought at your level, Division III, these kids who are probably just – they're just fired up to be able to continue playing football at the next level, whereas the guys I'm talking about, a lot of them are guys that are looking to play in the NFL.
Yeah, I've got a guy right now that played for me. It's in year 4 of the Titans. That's from Division III football. So that we have kids that have those aspirations at our level too. But I think the question you're asking is part of your culture, right? How do you handle your kids? How do you grow them? How do you get them to respond to how you're coaching them? And I think every coach has their own way of doing that, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, and a lot of really good coaches that do it in a million different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But my style is, like I said earlier, I'm a realist. I kind of give it. I tease them, I guess, that hey, you're about to get a dose of that medicine you don't want to take right now. And I'm not old school. I think I'm somewhere in between. I come from a generation where coaches were tough, but I also have coached in a generation where you have to be more of a player's coach.
Yep.
And, I think if you would ask the guys who play for me, I think I'm pretty tough. I'm pretty hard nosed, but I'm also pretty fair. And I think you have to know. I think ultimately, as the coach, you have to know the personality of your players, and more so the personality of the team and the leadership you have on your team, because sometimes you can really be fiery with a group, and they're going to respond, and then at other times you can be fiery and you're going to take it away from them a little bit. And I think that's the art of coaching. That's why there's just not a cookie cutter way to do it. You have to know your club, and you have to know who's leading it and how those guys are going to respond to it.
Do you go, and does that go into recruiting? Like in recruiting, are you kind of looking at the personality of a player and thinking, man, he probably could play for us, but I don't know that personality is going to work with this team and with my coaching style?
Yeah, that's a great question because, I worked with a guy, Bo Ryan, who had a lot of success. Yeah. He was a basketball coach where I was a football coach, and got a chance to study Bo. And, when Bo got to Wisconsin, he had won multiple national championships at the Division III level, and Bo had a cookie cutter system. You came in and this is who you were as the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5. That didn't change when he got to Wisconsin. And I don't know that before I had a chance to watch Bo that I even thought about those things. But yeah, I think the personality piece, that's something we really try to, how we ask coaches, how do you coach this kid? How does he respond to this type of coaching? Will he fit the way I coach? And I think that's a big piece because it's more than just what you can put on film. I tell our kids that all the time. Talent's your ceiling. The way you can put a team together, the personality, the way it fits, the way kids compete, as a group, particularly in football where you have 100 people out there doing it, that's a huge deal. So they've got to fit in the personality type of the program for sure.
2-0, Center College this weekend at home. Yeah. Do these guys right now, do you have your players, are they have really good belief in themselves? They feel really, really confident as a group going into the remainder of the season after the start you've gotten off to?
Yeah, and I don't know how much history but I've been here 3 years. When I took over, they were 1-14, I think, in their last 15 games, or 1-13. We got to 5-5 a year ago. Had a really big win to end the season, knocked off a top 25 team. I think our program has developed. Our kids do have belief. We've had a big win. We've had a signature win. The center's been an Achilles heel for Rhodes football. We're, all time we're 25-50 against them. We haven't beaten them in a decade. I talked to our team last night. This is a big opportunity for us. We've had a big signature win, but now, they've been kind of the thorn in our side. We've competed against them for a long time, and for us to move, this is an opportunity to move the needle forward in our program and get over a hump, so to speak.
You talk about that, when you took over and how they were struggling and all that. And that's always, coaches. Now, culture is such a big term that coaches all overuse nowadays. And I always think, like, does culture result in the winning, or do you have to win to be able to install that culture? It's like a kind of a chicken or the egg type thing, because your culture can be great, but if you're losing, what is that culture?
That's a great question, and it's something I led with when I took over the program. When you go back and look at the 49ers, Bill Walsh had something hanging up in his locker room. The champions are champions well before they're champions, and the culture precedes championships. And I truly believe in that. I can't predict when we're going to win. I can't predict how many we're going to win. You have to play the games. But I do know that the more things you can do to put yourself in a position to be successful and do things correctly and get people on board and have a championship culture in that way, the easier it makes it out on the field. And it doesn't always measure into the scoreboard on Saturday. And that's I think the trick for young kids. They live in this Twitter world, social media world, instant gratification, of getting them to understand that sometimes this is a long-term investment, not a short-term investment. You got to play the long game. And just because you do it right once doesn't lead to success. It's a consistency, and it's a willingness to continue to fail. I appreciate. I've done this a few times, turned programs around, and I've been part of a startup. But I think that it really is the culture comes before success. I don't think it's a chicken and an egg thing. I believe it's the way the kids handle the program.
All right. So as I mentioned, center this weekend at Ferguson Field. Next week you go to Trinity in Texas. They always, if I remember
they're
right,
ranked number 3 to start the season. They took a loss, but they're down to 6.
Yeah. So certainly a tough stretch here for you guys. What is the keys to beating center on Saturday?
We have to control the football on offense. Like I said earlier, we've got a really good defense. We finished in the top 15 defensively in a lot of categories. We lost 2 players, but lost 3, but we've got 8 returning starters, and they're playing really well. I think the key is to control the field position. I think the key is for our offense to be able to take advantage of opportunities. And then I think when we look back after the game on Saturday, we've got to win the special teams battle. That's going to be huge for us because we're just not consistent enough offensively to go out there and score 40, 50 points yet.
Right.
So we've got to control the way the game is played. That ultimately, I think, will be the dictator.
Yeah, you're not winning a shootout, in other words, more than likely against a team of this caliber.
Correct.
Where are you on the turnover deal through 2 games? Where are you? Hopefully you're plus.
Yeah, we're plus.
Okay, that's another big factor, obviously.
Yeah, it is.
You can force them against center. You got a better chance.
I don't want to share all my secrets, but we have a formula to success, and it involves partially the turnover game. We call it the plus-minus system. Right now we're plus 12 in that system on the year in 2 games. So, it involves field position in the special teams game, block kicks, turnovers, touchdowns allowed, defensive touchdowns, things of those nature. But I really believe that it's not something that's out there in the media world, but it's something as a coach you can really focus your team on what it takes to win. And like I said, right now we're plus 12. And I know on offense, if you can end up being plus 5, it's really tough to get beat. That's 5 touchdowns more than you have turnovers. Makes sense. But, hopefully we can continue our trend.
Great start to the season. He is the head coach of Rhodes football. He is Rich Duncan. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach Rich Duncan. And again, every single week throughout the football season, throughout the basketball season, we will have either Coach Duncan or Coach Goodson or any of the other coaches that Rhodes wants to have on as we have this Rhodes Links segment for you guys, for all the folks out there that have followed throughout the years Rhodes or wants to follow Rhodes. This is the opportunity to listen to him each and every week. Coach, it's great that you were able to find the studio, first of all, and we want to wish you nothing but the best on Saturday. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it. Hey, I want to get my vote in. Bob Barker, by the way. He's my host.
Bob Barker, number 1. Okay. Sounds good.
I would say
I think he's going to be on a lot of lists. He's going to be on a lot of lists. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Blake Topmeyer joins us. He is the SEC columnist for USA Today Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BTopmeyer, and he'll be joining us when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
I felt like we were really lucky to have a place like Genesis. There are several jewelry stores, I know, but I don't think any of them can match up to Genesis.
Meet Beth Gear, another thrilled Genesis Diamonds customer.
Yeah, whole experience was wonderful. I felt really super comfortable, and I felt confident that we were getting the best deal for the money, too.
But for Beth, it was more than just getting a great price.
I'd say the value was extraordinary. Even if the price had been slightly more, I think we would have still chosen Genesis just because we felt that there really was a personal connect. We felt like they really wanted us to be happy.
Genesis Diamonds, where you and your budget are respected from the minute you walk in.
No matter what your budget is, Genesis will work with you. They never make you feel uncomfortable if you don't have the biggest budget. They were very respectful of our budget and need to stay within it.
Discover the Genesis difference for a ring you'll be proud to show off.
We'd always tell people, I got it at Genesis because I want them to have the same experience.
Genesis Diamonds, Memphis's direct diamond importer at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Get them to sign on the line which is dotted.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Gonna put the world away for a minute. Pretend I don't.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:27 the time. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Every other week during the college football season, we get to talk college football with Blake Topmeyer. He's the SEC columnist for USA Today Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BTopmeyer. He joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Blake.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. We were talking about this yesterday. It's interesting that we're 2 weeks into the season, and already Alabama, a loss, LSU, a loss, Texas A&M, maybe not a surprise to a lot of people because they've underachieved, but they have a loss, right? The 3 teams, I guess, projected at the top of the Western Division, all with L's to start the season. Not great. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world for all 3 of them or any of them, but not a good start nationally when you look at what the SEC has done so far.
Yeah, and all 3 losses, non-conference losses as well. So while it doesn't affect their path to Atlanta, it is a big smear on the conference's resume, no doubt, when you look at the fact that these marquee matchups the SEC has had the first 2 weeks, they've fallen on their face. I mean, the only top 25 win they have, I believe, is Ole Miss at Tulane, and Ole Miss had its hands full throughout the first half, and Tulane was playing its backup quarterback. So, still at the end of the day, a good win for Ole Miss. But, overall, the SEC in these top 25 matchups, these non-conference games, they flopped.
Is it a bit of a down year other than Georgia in the SEC?
It's presenting that way, and I think we're piecing together some of that in the preseason. Like Alabama, I think a lot of us had some concerns about the product at Alabama this year. Not that they were going to go 6-6, but the standard at Alabama obviously is to make the college football playoff and contend for a national championship. So by the Alabama standard, I think there were some worrying signs before the season started. What were they going to do at quarterback? Mm-hmm. The skill positions, honestly, I didn't think they were as good at wide receiver and running back as they've been at some other points in Nick Saban's tenure, and that showed up Saturday against Texas. I mean, Texas was better really at every position, and that win, sometimes when Alabama's lost over the years, they've been shocking results that kind of felt a little fluky. Saturday's result didn't feel fluky. It didn't really even feel all that surprising. I mean, after the first quarter of that game, I thought it was pretty clear Texas was a better team. And, Alabama counterpunched there in the third quarter. But outside of that third quarter, that was Texas' game. They dominated most of that game. Quinn Ewers was the better quarterback. They were better in the trenches. Alabama kind of got whooped. And And I think it proved really some of the things a lot of us have been saying, coming into the season. The one that was more surprising for me was LSU getting picked apart by Florida State in the second half in week 1. Now, I think LSU is going to rebound and still have a good season, but they can afford no more losses if they're going to make the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. And that's true of all these teams with a loss. If their playoff aspirations now come down to running the table.
So do you believe in the narrative that the dynasty run is over for Alabama?
I think so. That doesn't mean, though, I would say that with a caveat. That doesn't mean that they won't win another national championship. I don't know how much longer Nick Saban wants to coach. Like, let's say Saban wants to coach another 5 years. So I think the dynasty run is basically over. But that doesn't mean if Saban coaches another 5 years, Alabama won't win another national championship during that stretch. But that's not really a dynasty, right? Mm-hmm. The dynasty was when they were going back to back in championships, when they were not going long stretches between national championships. And Saban's tenure, they've never gone three. It's kind of amazing. They've never gone 3 straight years without winning at least one national championship. Wow. They've gone 2 years in a row without winning one, but always in that third year they would get one. Well, this is the third year, and I find it highly unlikely that they're winning the national championship this year. So I find it unlikely that they're making the playoff this year. I don't think Alabama's running the table. They've got too many problems. To me, this looks like a 10-2 or 9-3 team. And so it would be the third year in a row without winning the championship. If they go back-to-back years without making the playoff, yeah, I think you'd have to say the dynasty, if in the true definition of the word, the dynasty's over. But again, I would add the caveat that doesn't mean I don't think they're not going to win another title in the next 5 years. I don't think a random title here and there is a dynasty, not the way it was.
Do you see any of the SEC West teams going undefeated in conference play?
I don't. No. I don't think, may go without saying, but I don't think the division's as good as it has been in a lot of years past. That being said, I do think it's going to be really competitive. Like, I don't think there's probably a huge gap in performance in some of these teams. So, yeah, I think they'll beat up on each other a little bit, sort of like we often see in the Big 12. There's been many years where I feel like top to bottom, the Big 12 has been the most competitive conference in the country, where there's not necessarily this huge gap between, the team at the top of the conference and the team at the bottom. Well, I think that may be true in the SEC West this year, and I think part of the proof of that, for whatever betting spreads are worth, you got LSU against Mississippi State this weekend. LSU was the team that many people said coming into the year was the best team in the West. People said they were either number 1 or number 2. There wasn't much debate beyond that. And then Mississippi State was the team projected either at number 6 or number 7 in the West by most people. Right. So it's kind of the top versus the bottom. Well, according to the spread, there's only a 10-point difference between those teams, and we'll see how it plays out on the field. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is about a 2-touchdown team result. And again, that's kind of the head of the division, supposedly, versus the bottom of the division. So, point being, yeah, I think all these teams probably are going to suffer at least one more loss along the way here.
Also this weekend is the rivalry game between Tennessee and Florida, a rivalry that you're very familiar with. Billy Napier has been under a lot of fire at Florida, lost that opening game at Utah. Graham Mertz, the Wisconsin transfer, is his quarterback. They have dominated this rivalry. It's been a great one, but Tennessee is expected to go in there and take care of business. Do you think that's what happens? Is this going to be closer than people think because of the history? How do you size up this matchup?
It might be closer than people think. I think Swamp is obviously a tough venue when it's rocking, and it's going to be rocking, I think, on Saturday night, despite the frustration among Florida fans toward Billy Napier. still early in the season, rivalry game, all that stuff. I think the Swamp's going to be a tough venue to step into. So I think that helps keep this game close. And Tennessee's been they can't solve the Swamp over the years. Their last win in Gainesville in this series came in 2003, and there's been some bad Florida teams along the way during that winning streak that have still beat Tennessee in the Swamp. But I do think Tennessee breaks the streak. I think they go down there and get it done. It may not be a blowout, which we might have thought at some point, but I think the Austin P result kind of gave some pause.
Right.
I don't know if that gives me a ton of pause. I think sometimes those FCS results can be a little bit funky. And at the end of the day, Tennessee still won by 3 scores. But it does tell you that, oh, hey, this is your reminder that this Tennessee team is not last year's Tennessee team. And I think that's true. I have such a bleak outlook on this Florida season. I have for a while now. The Utah game didn't change my opinion on that. In fact, it made it even bleaker. And so I just have a hard time seeing Florida beating very many good teams this year. And I still think Tennessee's a good team. They're not as good as last year's team. But I think they're good enough to beat Florida.
We've seen Georgia in the first 2 games against inferior opponents kind of sleepwalk a little bit early and then kind of just shift it into gear and get their blowout. Against South Carolina, do they flip the gear right away? Can South Carolina hang around in this game?
Yeah, I don't know if South Carolina hangs around. It's sort of, I guess I think back to last year, and there was a few games where Georgia played with their food a little bit. Early in the season, Kent State, Missouri, even the FCS game for Georgia last year, they weren't exactly overwhelming. But when they played South Carolina, they crushed them. And I sort of expect that to play out again this year. Part of the reason is, that South Carolina offensive line, which allowed 9 sacks against North Carolina, I think it's going to be tested again this week. Now, Georgia's, front 6 isn't maybe quite as menacing, particularly on the defensive line, as its peak moments past couple of years. I mean, they were loaded up front past 2 seasons. I don't know if this Georgia team's quite that good, but still, I think Georgia's probably every bit as good, on the defensive front as what North Carolina is, and South Carolina got picked apart there, and South Carolina to me is just, they're kind of Spencer Rattler and not much else. And that might be good enough to win a handful of games this year. But I don't think that's good enough to hang with Georgia. I think you need more of a supporting cast if you're going to hang with them. And I don't think South Carolina has it.
I agree with you. Blake, aside from the narrative in Tuscaloosa, what is the biggest storyline so far through the first couple of weeks of the season in the SEC?
I think it's probably kind of what we were talking about earlier. Beyond just Alabama, there's kind of a lack of a number 2 team that you can kind of look at and say, okay, they can join Georgia in the playoffs. And it's only been a couple years where the SEC has produced 2 playoff qualifiers, 2021 and 2017. But there's been other years where they've been in contention right up into the end, and you thought, okay, they have a chance to get that second team in. At this point, there's still some undefeated teams, Ole Miss, Tennessee. I don't know that you look at those teams and think playoff teams, though. I think for the playoff, which, fair or unfair, that's what this sport has become about, right? That didn't used to be the case, but now this is a sport that's about the playoff, like all the others, like pro sports, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Georgia's the team carrying the torch, and there's nobody else behind them, right?
Right.
And so I think it's kind of Georgia or bust for the SEC in the playoff this year. Now I don't think it's going to be a bust because when you look at Georgia's schedule,
right?
I don't see them losing more than once. I don't know if they lose once, but I don't see them losing more than once. So I think Georgia's going to claim a playoff spot. I don't think it's going to be the 5-alarm fire where SEC gets shut out of the playoff. However, again, there's really nobody behind them where I would say if Georgia stumbles, this team is going to slide in, or yeah, Georgia could qualify and also this team. I see some other conferences where they might have at least an avenue toward 2 playoff teams, but I think that's getting pretty slim already, here in mid-September for the SEC, and it's kind of surprising.
Yeah, and with the non-conference losses that they've already suffered, and I think Missouri probably loses to Kansas State this week. Kansas State is better than them. We know what Arkansas has coming up. They got Murderers Row after this week. How important is this game for them against BYU? Again, conference needs some non-conference wins, but also just for Arkansas, because if they go into that stretch with a loss, this might spiral on them.
Yeah, it's huge, no doubt about it. Because if you're Arkansas, you want some cushion going into conference play. And I know that, a coach isn't going to say that. The team's not going to have that outlook. They want to win them all, the whole bit. But in the grand scheme of things, like, if you're Arkansas, you want to get to like 8-4, 9-3. Those still count as pretty good seasons, right? You need to beat BYU, and that gives you some, like I said, some cushion going into the conference stretch. And so that is I don't think this BYU team is as good as some BYU teams we've seen in years past.
I agree.
It's kind of interesting at quarterback. I believe they have Keaton Slovis, who's now on his third team. Started at Southern Cal, then he went to Pitt. Now he's at BYU. Kind of the modern era college quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Moving around a lot, going up against someone who's the antithesis to the modern college quarterback in KJ Jefferson, who sort of flew under the radar in recruiting, wound up at Arkansas, and I think he's been fantastic for the Hogs. And so I think Jefferson is he's been one of my favorite quarterbacks in the SEC for a couple of years now. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I don't think he always gets the credit he deserves. Arkansas is such as you guys know, being right there on the doorstep of that state, Arkansas football is such a big deal in its own state. For whatever reason, I don't know that they get the attention nationally as some of these other SEC brands. Mm-hmm. And so I still think KJ Jefferson's kind of a little bit of a secret on the national stage, but I think he's one of the better quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in this conference. So I guess just the quarterback advantage, I think, goes Arkansas. To add Arkansas, I think if this was one of BYU's best teams, I could say, maybe they could go in there and get an upset. I don't think so. I think Arkansas probably wins. And I think they're the type of program that once they get in conference play, they're good enough to beat, 3, 4, 5 teams in the conference, just because I don't think there's much difference between Arkansas and the head of the pack. But they're also going to be one of those teams where they might lose a game or two, where they're favored to win. They're kind of that mid-tier SEC West team, which means for the most part you could win any of these individual games, or you could lose almost any of them too.
The between Slovis and JT Daniels, those former USC quarterbacks, right. they have put in the miles in college football. My goodness.
No doubt about it. Yeah, for sure. It's hard to keep up with. JT is like a Where's Waldo situation. He's at Rice now, right?
Yes. Well, I'll be honest. When you said Slovis with BYU, I'm like, what? He's with BYU? Yeah, it is hard to keep up with these guys. But Blake does it. That's his job. He's Blake Topmeyer, SEC columnist for USA Today Network. You can follow him on Twitter at @BTopmeyer. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, Blake. Enjoy the games.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Those two guys, I feel like they were both at USC in 2015. And they're both somehow still playing on their 8th schools. It's crazy that those two guys are still playing college football to me. I don't even understand how it's even possible. But I think Sam Darnold was there after them.
Yeah.
They predated Sam Darnold. And he's in the NFL on his third team or whatever in the NFL, then they're still somehow playing college football. I don't understand it at all. This side of the program is brought to you by Acura of Memphis, located on Ridgeway right there at 385. Online, AcuraofMemphis.com. Go by and take a test drive of one of those beautiful Acura automobiles, whether it be a new vehicle, whether you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle. Well, they've got a great selection of pre-owned vehicles, including certified pre-owned Acuras that you'll find at Acura of Memphis. You can also go to the website to get a lot of information before you even head on over there to Acura of Memphis. Go see them online at acuraofmemphis.com.
All right, when we come back, final segment. So I mentioned earlier the head coach at Michigan State, who's now suspended, Mel Tucker, released a statement through his agents yesterday via social media. But unfortunately, some of the things that he mentions in his statement contradicts his prior statements that he made to an outside attorney that the college had hired to investigate in this Brenda Tracy situation. Brenda Tracy, of course, responds to the Mel Tucker statement. We'll talk about that when we return. Put a wrap on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll find only spectacular natural diamonds that will remain treasured for generations. That promise is now symbolized by the engraved Sissy signature and sapphire, representing our guarantee of extraordinary service, selection, experience, and quality. Stop by any of our stores or visit Sissy'sLogCabin.com and experience the Sissy's promise for yourself. Find a jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Everyone agrees that 117 Prime is Memphis's premier downtown dining experience. But what if you could go one step further and have 117 Prime at home? As hard as it is to believe, 117 Prime, which features some of the best food in Memphis, is available for curbside or takeout. Imagine just swinging by Prime and picking up not just something good, but something great. 117 Prime makes the best steaks in Memphis, and you could eat it in your living room. The best food in Memphis, enjoy the way you really want to. Pantsless.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So Mel Tucker came out again via this post on social media through his attorney, basically saying that he had this relationship with Brenda Tracy that was consensual. But then he went on to also say that he could only conclude that there is ulterior motive designed to terminate my contract based on some other factors such as desire to avoid any Nassar, and that's the Larry Nassar taint, or my race or gender. So is he basically saying that maybe because they haven't performed up to snuff after he signed that long contract that they're finding a way to get rid of him? And this is like some conspiracy to get rid of him? I mean, that's an interesting comment. Then, in his statement, he contradicts his prior statements to the outside attorney that the college hired to investigate Tracy's complaint. For instance, Tucker said in the statement that he did not cancel Tracy's planned July 2022 visit to campus to train his players and coaches about sexual violence prevention. He said he had merely postponed the visit until January 2023. The investigation report shows that he said, yes, absolutely, I did, when the investigator asked him if he had a role in canceling the visit. There's a couple of other things he contradicts. So Brenda Tracy went on X, and she responded to his big, long soliloquy about what happened. And she said, this is just more of the same Darvo. Deflection, victim blaming, and lies that I've been dealing with now for months. Coach Tucker has been delaying and trying to stop the investigative process since the beginning. He can't afford to go to a hearing that determines credibility of the participating parties. I believe this statement is his way of getting out of participating in the hearing. October 5th and 6th, I will be present for the hearing and make myself available for cross-examination by his attorney. I invite him to do the same.
Again, he's going to be fired. It is what it is.
He also said that
he can fight for some of the money. He won't get it all. He might be able to get some sort of settlement.
He also said that she sent him a text wishing him Happy Father's Day a couple of weeks after the alleged incident over the phone. And then they said that they had deleted the texts. Because I'm thinking to myself, that's pretty easy. Just go to your text history and there's a text there or not. I mean, I'd love to know if 2 weeks after that she's sending them congratulatory texts, but it's conveniently gone. So I don't know. Again, everybody can have an opinion. It doesn't matter. It's not worth 2 cents. But I think, as you just said, he's done. He's losing his job. How much money can he get out of it? There's no conspiracy to get rid of Mel Tucker. And that she is probably more than likely in the right.
You mentioned earlier the ratings for the college football, Texas, Alabama.
Yep.
Which it did very well. The Nebraska-Colorado game did extremely well as well. They had 8.7 million for that.
Here comes the NFL, right?
The NFL Sunday night, Cowboys-Giants, just over 20 million.
Wow.
The Sunday afternoon CBS late window did over 21 million. Hell, Sunday, the Football Night in America on NBC, their pregame show, part 3 of that, the third segment, I guess, had 11.5 million people watching it.
My gosh.
Like on Sunday, it's just insane to go by all the top things. Everything is somewhat is NFL related. Like everything that was on until you get down to
Murder, She Wrote.
The U.S. Open tennis.
Still a sporting event.
Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. The top 18 things in these ratings is NFL.
Wow. And we don't know the numbers yet for last night's Monday night game.
No.
That'll probably come out tomorrow.
It's like NFL's just crazy. Speaking of last night, how good was last night for Jordan Whitehead with his 3 interceptions? Well, he had a clause in his contract this year to pay him $250,000 if he achieved 3 interceptions. So he's already cashed in.
Oh, my gosh.
Not a bad start to the year when you meet your incentive in week number 1 and cash a $250,000 check.
When was the last time, or did it ever happen in history, that the Monday Night Football opening game of the season had a guy with 3 picks? That probably never has happened, I'm assuming. By the way, I don't know if you're with me on this. I wish they'd bring back halftime highlights. The halftime highlights they showed was like 20 seconds of the Jets-Bills game. Bring back the traditional halftime highlights from years ago when we used to have Howard Cosell giving you the halftime highlights. Then it was time for me to go to bed for school. I got to stay up through the halftime highlights. It was a tradition. It was fantastic. We don't have that anymore. Sundays, we have Terry Bradshaw bumbling through highlights. They need to put him out the pasture as far as highlights are concerned. And then Monday night, we don't have the halftime highlights. That's a big part of Monday Night Football history.
Yeah, that was history.
And
now,
you know
if you want highlights, you know what you do? You go online and watch them.
You know what? But it was great. There's nothing wrong with bringing that back. And just because something was old doesn't mean that it wasn't better. By the way, Joe Buck, he has twin 5-year-olds. Dude's 54 years old. I know he's in a second marriage, and I understand that. But 54, that dude's got 5-year-olds. Mamma mia.
I have no idea.
They'll be legal when he's 70.
I did not know that. I don't know Joe Buck's.
Well, they said
family.
it on the broadcast live.
I mean,
last night.
that's the new age now, you know? Older guys getting younger kids.
It's a second marriage and a second set of kids.
I was watching the Manning cast.
Oh, were you?
I did not watch 1 second of Joe and Troy.
I completely forgot about the Manning cast, to be honest with you. I like to put that on.
The line of the night last night, I give credit to Eli last night when Peyton.
Eli's funny.
Peyton made fun. He said he was making fun of the Giants for losing 40-0 the night before. And Eli Manning said, yeah, that's the worst football game I've seen in New York since your Colts came here and lost 41-0 to the Jets in a playoff game. And Peyton just goes, that's uncalled for. That's just uncalled for.
By the way, we still have not gotten any official word on the Aaron Rodgers injury. It is believed to be a torn Achilles, but I'm sure that news will be coming very, very soon. We want to thank Pete Medhurst, Laird Veach, Rich Duncan, the head coach at Rhodes College, football coach, and Blake Topmeyer for joining us on the program today. We're back tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 7 a.m. We are scheduled to be talking to Joe Salisbury from the University of Memphis, who just teamed up for another major in doubles, men's doubles at the U.S. Open, third straight U.S. Open championship for him. Jerry Palm will join us, to Michael Cole, 5 favorite things, your 5 favorite game show hosts of all time. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next, so stay tuned for that. For Eli Savoy and Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Enjoy your Tuesday, everyone.